4 in the morning, you got me up, all cause you need to talk. To 4 in the evening, wanna break up, say that you've had enough. I'm tired of talking, again and again, argue about everything. You are my darling, this kiss and make up, I know you wanna touch. You call me every night, call me every day, I just wanna get you alone now. Trust me when I say, we gon' be okay, we just gotta boom, bada boom, ba. I don't wanna fight, you know that I'm right. Baby, let me talk to your body. We gon' be okay, hear me when I say.
This whole thing really hasn't changed me. I mean, I just get recognized now, you know, by kids and stuff. It's great to be able to be a positive role model on kids.
Morphin' time! Tiger Zord!
I'm Jason David Frank, and I play Tommy the White Ranger.
E.T. looks back at our time with Jason David Frank as his Power Rangers co-stars speak out following his death.
You know, everything we've been through together.
Hi, it's Amy Jo. Just thinking about Jason a lot, and I hope you guys are okay. I know how much you all meant to him.
You know, it's crazy with the Power Ranger movie, with the consistency of the brand, because I'm signing the, things for little kids, and then their parents are fans, and their moms know who I am. So it's like 3 different generations.
1, 2, 3. Go,
go, Power Rangers! Very important question. Why do you think that Tommy and Kimberly did not end up together?
Well, Kimberly wrote me that letter. Kimberly, you wrote me that breakup letter.
That was the meanest, coldest thing I've ever seen on a
Pain. I've been there. Locked up inside my head. Broken from fear, illusions, disappointment, and hopelessness. Who heard me in my silence, where being a man means nothing? Despair. I've been there too. Desperately seeking answers for the questions associated with manhood. Hills and valleys, too bleak to compare. Stress. Suffering in a utility silo. No comfort, no security. No freedom, no justice. Just do it for others. Challenges. Who will help me break the challenges? Lost in the vortex of darkness, hopelessness, fear, and abandonment. I've been there too. I've been there too. Take the next step to your destiny. Join me in this fight. Walk forward. Deep breaths. Head held high, men. Come join me, men, in the winds of time. Stories, hopes, visions, purified in the fire. I'm not a superhero. And I'm not the Reverend Knight. I'm here to help you. Join me, men, in this fight. Break the chains of your mind. Let's do it now. For now is all we have. Fire for your mind. The kosher clinician.
All right, guys, we're going to get into it on tonight, and we're going to be talking about a topic that's been dear to so many hearts. As you guys know, David Frank, one of the Power Rangers, passed away a couple of days ago. And I titled this show Existentialist Crisis because what happened to this brother is an existentialist crisis. I told you, men, before in the past that you will be remiss to fall in love in modern times. Falling in love in modern times is not only dangerous, but it also can end up with you having issues that can lead up to death. I want you guys to get your pens and paper ready as we talk about the life and the death of a superhero, Jason David Frank. And then we're going to have a powerful discussion as we have a call-in panel where men come in and talk about what Jason David Frank meant to them and what this also means as it relates to relationship in modern times. Get your pens and paper ready. We're going to drop some fire for your mind on tonight, guys. Let's do it. Existentialist crisis to the point love has gotten you spellbound and it's causing you to be to a point where you think about hurting yourself. Let's talk about it on tonight. All right, guys, so we're going to have a very powerful discussion on tonight. We're talking about the life and the death of Jason David Frank. As you guys know, it appears to be something very ominous and something very insidious going on now, as anytime we have superheroes, white or black, something negative is happening. Black Panther was blacked out in the recent movie Wakanda Forever. They could have recasted Black Panther, and that was something that could have been prevented. But sadly, Jason David Frank took his own life because he was probably lovesick, or he was probably dealing with the stress of losing his wife. Now listen, I told you guys before in the past that you should never fall in love with a woman. And to some that are listening, some will say, well, you know, why wouldn't you fall in love? Well, I'm going to explain to you why. And we're going to go back to an old show that I did talking about the inner sanctum of masculinity. But if you don't know what an existentialist crisis is, an existentialist crisis is a crisis that says, why am I living? Why am I going through the things that I'm going through? And normally, an existentialist crisis is what brought some of you men here in these spaces where men tell their stories and men tell their pain. We all live as men on an old hard drive of assuming, especially some of the younger ones, that women were like women of the past. But now modern women are totally different than the women generations before. And that's why you have to move different so that you are not a victim like Jason David Frank, a man that took his life. Because see, now when women more or less initiate divorce, many men go through what's called an existentialist crisis, and they get what's called also a schema affliction. That schema is a fixation in their head. Why did she leave me? I thought she loved me. How could she do this to me? And then the affliction is due to pain, fear, or hurt. And so now Jason David Frank is waiting for the resurrection, but not only is he waiting for the resurrection, you know, depending on what you believe in, he's in a place, I believe, in eternity somewhere. Because the gospel said from to be absent from the body is to be present with God. So he's somewhere, hopefully in the right place, waiting on the judgment. I don't believe he's just resting in the ground. His physical body is, but his spirit is somewhere. Either, you know what I'm talking about. But we're not going to talk about that because I'm not here tonight for that. My mission tonight is to make sure that you men don't go through an existentialist crisis where you get so broken that you put yourself in a predicament where you're thinking about self-deletion. And self-deletion becomes very important for a lot of men when they go through divorces. And that's why I told you guys you should never love her more than you love yourself. You should love your woman, yes, but you should love her within reason. You should love your woman within reason. You should never love her more than you love yourself because, see, watch this. When you love her more than you love yourself, you put yourself in a predicament where you could be at the mercies of self-deletion. Because men, we are the true romanticiers. We are the true romantics. We tend to love based on principles. You know, that's why men get so, flabbergasted when a woman said, I love you. And that same woman that said, I love you a couple of months or 3 weeks after you get a divorce, she's with another man. You're like, how could this happen? And so that's why I tell men never to fall in love. And I know it sounds crazy, but you should love your woman, but you should never love her more than you love your own person, because I talked about something called the inner sanctum of masculinity. The inner sanctum of masculinity is that special place that only God can go and a special male friend can go as it relates to what's going on inside your head. And it's true, just like in the holies of holies. That was a sanctum. It was a place of holiness. It was a holy sanctum, where only certain people could go, just like the Levites. They could only go to that special place. And so when you are dealing with women in modern times, you had to protect your mind and your heart. I wish I could tell you to just fall head over heels in love, but you would be a fool to do that. Because even though it takes a level of intimacy to be in a relationship with a woman, you should never get so deep at the point that you lose yourself in that relationship, and now you are at the mercies of her and in the system if she decides to leave you. You don't ever want that to happen. You love her within reason. Your creator first, whatever God you believe in. I believe in the God of the Bible. Then your purpose. And then after that, you love your woman, because see, you weren't made for her, she was made for you. She was made for you. But see, some of you brothers get it twisted. You are so spellbound by the allure of a woman that what you don't understand is that women don't love you the same way you love them. Men tend to love based on principle. Women tend to love opportunistically because women by nature are survivalists. They're survivalists in their nature. Unless a woman has disciplined herself under a culture where she's been conditioned to love her man, unless a woman's a spiritual woman where she's constantly fasting and praying, she can't love you the way you need to be loved as a man. It's almost impossible because she's fighting against her nature. And now Jason David Frank is gone, a man and a superhero for so many. He's gone, and then his children will suffer the recompense of his mother's foolishness. Because see, watch this. Many are not ready for the assignment. They want the ring. Oh yes, they want the ring. But many are not ready for the assignment when it comes down to marriage. They're not ready for the assignment. And that's why there's so many issues. Guys, I want to ask you guys a question. Are my notifications on? Because I don't know what's been going on here lately, man. I don't know if my notifications are on, guys, but my notifications are on. Let me know. Are you guys getting these notifications? If you're getting the notifications, guys, let me know, please, on tonight if you guys are getting these notifications. These numbers have been somewhat low here lately. I don't know what's going on. But if you guys, brothers, are getting the notifications, please let me know. But we're going to get more into detail on tonight. Damn, I don't care if we got 2 or 3. We're going to get into it because I want to make sure you guys are having a powerful conversation. We're having a powerful conversation where you guys can understand the importance of what Jason David Frank meant to you, and why it's so important for you to love yourself and to love yourself in a healthy way. Because if you don't love yourself, then who will love you? Who will love you if you don't love yourself? And we see it happen all too often here in modern times where men are not getting the love that they deserve. They're not getting the admiration. They're not getting the respect. They're not getting anything similar to what their grandfathers and great-grandfathers got years ago. And now, because of no-fault divorce, a woman can divorce you for no reason, and it's not an issue. And so you're left holding the bag in your hand. You're left in a state of perplexity. And it's a problem. It's a serious problem. And that's why it's an issue that needs to be addressed on the night. We're going to talk about it, guys, at some point, what this man meant to you. I will have a live panel. We can come up, you guys, we can chop it up. But we're going to get into it, guys. Let me find the information that I had. If you guys are getting notifications, please let me know by hitting 1. Something is going on. I don't know what's going on with these numbers. I don't know if people are getting the notifications. But this is strange. But we're going to move on anyway. I can't worry about that. But let's get into it. What is an existentialist crisis? Because that's going to help set the template for the show tonight. And guys, share this content, please. Share it with 5 people. And also, if you like what I'm doing, hit the like button and donate to the channel. So let's talk about it. We're going to talk about it in a few minutes. Existentialist crisis. And what it looks like. Because some of you could be going through what's called an existentialist crisis. So let me go to it real quick. And normally an existentialist crisis is something that happens due to pain or grief. But I'm going to show it to you guys in a minute. Hold tight. Okay, top. Well, he said he got his. All right, so good. All right, so let me show you guys something real quick. Existentialist crisis. And this, guys, is going to give greater clarity to what's going on. So what is an existentialist crisis? So in psychology and psychotherapy, existentialist crises, guys, are internalized, conflicts internalized by impressions that lack meaning. That's what an existentialist crisis is. Dealing with something that lacks meaning. An existentialist crisis is when you transition to a new age category, such as childhood, entering senior life. It can also happen with major events such as graduating from college, starting a new job, getting married, or divorce. And so then you have to really waken up. And so with an existentialist crisis, you're asking yourself the question, what's the meaning of life? What's my next move? And many men, when they go to that existentialist crisis, they can't handle it because they're not prepared for a myriad of reasons. Some of it could be temperament, some of it could be lack of proper training, and some of it could be because they've dealt with some unresolved trauma that's kept them mesmerized in the past. But we all go through existentialist crisis. And from a licensed clinical perspective, some people, guys, use what's called healthy coping mechanisms. They might work out. They might work harder. They might pray. They might create new ventures. They might do a myriad of things in the natural and healthy. But men, once again, when they lose a wife or a loved one or whatever, especially in a divorce, some men just take their life because they can't handle it. They cannot imagine living their life without that woman being on their side. And that's why some of you guys cannot have an existentialist crisis to the point you're considering taking your life, because your life means more than what you're currently dealing with. Because see, once you decide to let yourself fall that deep into depression, then who's going to take care of your children? And I know it's easier said than done, but that's partially one of the reasons why so many men are not getting married here in America anymore, because they don't see the benefit, sadly. They don't see the benefit of getting married in relationships now, because many of the relationships now, guys, is predicated on selfishness. A lot of men feel like a lot of modern women are selfish. And they said, because of that, I can't put myself in a predicament when I can end up losing half of everything that I have. Many men said they can't do that. So once again, guys, it's an issue and it's a problem. We're going to talk about Jason David Frank also, guys, in context, because it's going to be very important as well. But then they said, what happens during the existentialist crisis? Existentialist crisis is a feeling of unease people experience about meaning, choice, and freedom in life. They experience the existential anxiety can also cause people to feel that their life is inherently pointless and their existence has no meaning, right? And that happens a lot of time, guys, in relationships. It happens in jobs. You ask yourself the question, what's the purpose of life? Some of you men have been just existing. You have not really lived your life or your lives on your own purpose. Some of you men have been just existing. And because of you just existing, it's caused you a lot of pain and angst. But see, when you have a life outside of your circumstance, when you have a purpose greater than your circumstance, you don't let that circumstance that you're dealing with that's negative get you in such a funk that you end up deleting yourself. That's why men need to have other men. That's why these spaces are so important. That's why as a licensed therapist, I come and do the things that I do, because I don't want you guys to go through an existentialist crisis. That's why I say, as men, we may not agree on all things or ideologies, but we come together as allies of a common cause only to go away when the crisis is over. And this man went through a crisis. The crisis was a broken heart. The crisis was potentially losing his kids. And as I told you guys before in the past, men are at risk of losing everything once they go through a divorce. And see, now I ask the question, what age is the existentialist crisis common? And some of that looks like a midlife crisis. But Jason David Frank was 49. It's often said in around age 40 can be triggered by the impression that one's personal growth is stopped. So when you're in a predicament, whether it be through divorce or anything, you could be just existing. That's why it says exists, an existentialist crisis. And so you could be going to divorce, you could be working a dead-end job for years, and you say, damn, why am I doing this job? I haven't grown, I haven't progressed, I just feel like I'm existing. And some of you guys are in relationships where you feel like you're just existing. You have not lived your life on your own terms. You're frustrated. And some of you men are at a crossroad. That's why men are beginning to get passports now, because they're at a crossroad. They come to a realization that they're not getting their needs met. And I told you guys that, consistent with Dr. Wim Glasser, one of his 5 steps are having power, fun, freedom, belonging, and survival. Jason David Frank probably didn't feel like he belonged anymore once that divorce happened. He felt like he didn't have power. And because the laws here are so draconian and they don't, more or less honor and respect men, then men feel like at times that what hope do I have? Because see, faith, it's a substance of things hoped for, but the evidence of things not seen. So once again, a hopeless man is a broken man, and a broken man is dangerous. Because when you live in a world where the system does not protect you, your ego, or your rights, then you become broken as a man. And that's what happened to Jason David Frank. That's what happened to him. He realized that his life no longer had purpose anymore. He realized that what's the purpose of living anymore, because my life is over with now. And he was a victim of self-deletion. He took his life. And not only did he take his life, he took the life of so many other men. He took the life of so many other men because so many other men, young boys and young girls, and men our age, millennials and some zennials, they looked up to Jason David Frank. But see, guys, that's why we got to come together as men and have these conversations. Because, see, we can talk about all kinds of stuff and ideologies, but I take my time out as a licensed therapist to impart knowledge into good men, and particularly good men that are dealing with existentialist crisis and mental health phenomena that no one else have come to talk to them about. They just deal with it in silence. And once again, a broken man is a hopeless man. A hopeless man is dangerous. When a man is broken and hopeless, he's dangerous. Not only is he dangerous to himself, but he can be a danger to others. I don't know if you guys realize it or not, but what happened recently on today is that someone took the lives of 6 people at Walmart. They went through an existentialist crisis because they could no longer deal with the things that they were dealing with anymore. Because they did not have the healthy coping skills to help them deal with whatever struggle they were dealing with. And that's why, once again, guys, we got to have conversations. We got to have a cadre of men coming together to help each other deal with their pain and their suffering. Because if we don't, then we continue to mire in victimhood. We continue to mire in shame and hopelessness. And that's why we got to have these conversations. Guys, get the likes up. If you have not donated to the channel, donate, please. Shout out to my man, Jay Shar. He said, if you're going to, according to the Bible, then the two are to come together, become one. That is a husband and a wife. Yes, you're right, brother. No doubt, Jay Shaw. Shout out to my man, Official. ZM, pieces of check, cook, no doubt. I appreciate it, brothers. And I want to get deep into this, guys, because some of you guys knew about this man, and he was somebody that was dear to your heart. I didn't know too much about the Power Rangers. I mean, the Power Rangers were a little bit under me. I was older. I was probably a grown man when some of you guys were probably 10 and 5 looking at Power Rangers. I'm 51, so I'm not into the Power Rangers like that, but I do remember it, as a young man. And we're gonna have a conversation when I drop the panel. We're gonna talk about it, but I'm gonna get into what happened with Jason David Frank real quick. Let me see if I can find some of the conversations about this Power Ranger that killed himself, guys, and then we're gonna have a conversation. Guys, some of y'all that are coming in, have y'all? Are you guys getting notifications? If so, please hit 1. If everyone got notifications for this show and tonight, hit the 1 button, please. Jason David Frank. So we're going to talk about it. And it's unfortunate because this man's life is gone. So let's look at what TMZ said. Well, actually, let me look at what this said a couple of minutes ago. Hold on. So I got to be careful because, yeah. So anyway, so Power Rangers star Jason David Frank dead at 49. So let me bring this up real quick, guys. Hold on. And let's have a conversation. So Power Rangers Jason David Frank dead by suicide at 49. Let's talk about it. So 10 a.m., Walter Jones, who played the Black Ranger in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, tell TMZ he was an inspiration to so many people. His presence will be dearly missed. It's so sad to lose another member of our Ranger family. He adds Jason was one of the biggest pranksters on the show. He had a wild sense of humor. We had our shares of ups and downs, but I stayed consistent about being an ear if he needed one. My prayers go out to him and his family. One of the original Power Rangers has died, TMZ have learned. The actor and mixed martial artist died in Texas, according to the representative Justin Hunt. Sources with direct knowledge tell his death was the result of self-deletion. And that's why I tell you guys that, once again, a broken man is a hopeless man. A hopeless man is a dangerous man. That man is a danger to himself and others. And I think maybe some of you guys think I'm just saying what I say just to be saying it, but as a licensed therapist, men got to have power, consistent with Dr. William Glass. They got to feel like they have power. If you don't have power, then you're at more risk of doing things harmful to yourself. Everybody don't have the requisite coping skills to deal with life changes and life struggles. Some men choose self-deletion. Some men choose sex. Some men choose alcoholism. Some men choose violence. Some men choose abandonment. And that's why these shows are important. Guys, please share the stream to the small numbers that are watching. Share the stream, guys. Hopefully the stream will get up as we're having this conversation. But everybody don't deal with their traumas the same way. Every man deal with certain things different. Some men use logic and reason when dealing with their issues. Some don't. And so that's a problem. That's why we got to have these conversations, guys. Shout out to my man Top Gun. Top Gun for the $9 super sticker. I appreciate Top Gun. He said that, great topic on the night. He said, I went through depression and suicidal stage at one point in time. He said, I conquer it and have the strength to give 0 Fs. You may proceed. I appreciate Top Gun.
Right? That's a
I appreciate
deal,
it,
right?
brother.
That's a deal, right?
And
that's
Top
a
Gun,
bet,
we
right?
will
That's a
sponsor the
deal,
stream.
right?
Thank you,
That's
sir.
a
I
deal,
appreciate
right?
it. And that's why we got to have these conversations. Thank you, sir. That's why we got to have these conversations, guys, because these conversations play a role not only in your evolution, but it plays a role as a man as you seek to try to find a level of balance and resolve in these modern times. And right now, the holidays is encroaching upon us. Some of you men are going through stages of depression right now because of the holidays. The holidays sometimes symbolize the woman that you lost. It symbolizes unemployment. It symbolizes times when you were homeless. And some of you can deal with it, and some of you cannot deal with it. But that's why we can't suffer in a silo, and that's why these conversations are woefully so important. We got to have these conversations so that we don't continue to deal with some of the struggles that we're dealing with as men. But I'll hold tight. Let me finish reading the point about Jason David Frank. Fans will remember he started out as the Green Ranger in season 1, introduced at first as an enemy of the Power Rangers, only to do a 180 and become good. After his powers start to degenerate, however, he turned to the White Ranger and tapped as the new leader of the group. Frank starred as one of the leads for 3 seasons, totaling 123 episodes. Frank went from his role as Tommy in several adaptations of Power Rangers, including Wild Force, Turbo Force, Zeo, Dino Thunder, Mega Force, Ninja Steel, Hyper Force, and more. And he's been a Ranger, a Black Ranger, and a Green Ranger anew. JDF is a fan of favorite Power Ranger, which has returned to the franchise again. His on-screen fighting abilities translating to the real world. Frank was a professional trained MMA baller who was well-versed in everything from Taekwondo, Muay Thai, Judo, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and others. He fought professionally from time to time, from 2008 to 2010. This man was survived by 4 children. Justin's rep, Justin TMZ said, "Tell, please respect the problems of the family during this horrible time as we come with the terms of such a wonderful human being." He was 49 years old. And 49 years old is young. And see, this is what I said. If you know someone that's struggling with a crisis, help is available. Call or text 988 or the chat or chatlifeline.org. So let me put that in the chat. Call or text 988. And I'll put that in the text at some point. But 49 is young. And he went through an existentialist crisis where he said, you know what? I can't live anymore. I don't have no purpose in life anymore because the thing that I love now is taken away from me. And some of you men are going through an existentialist crisis. But see, many times in society, we don't care about the concerns and the affairs of men, whether you're white or black. But sadly, more so with black men because our circumstances are not unique, are unique to many men, are not unique to many men in this world. And so like Tavis Smiley said, where white America get the cold, black America get the flu. And we get it in a double dose. But many times when you're going through your traumas and your pain, nobody's there to hear you. They don't hear you. So you just continue to suffer in silence. You continue to suffer with your pathology because no one is hearing you and no one is hearing your pain. And that becomes a problem when you're dealing with that. Top Gun also, brother, because of your number one, your love offering, brother, Top Gun, you are the number one sponsor of this stream. Thank you, sir.
It's the money.
And so, like I said, guys, that's why we got to have these conversations. We got to have them on a consistent basis because when men suffer in silence, then they're no longer a help to themselves, but they're no longer a help to others as well. I want to ask you guys a question as we have it, as I get deep into this show on tonight. What existentialist crisis have you had? Have you ever been in a situation where you thought about taking your life because the woman that you loved or the woman you thought that loved you, you found out she was no longer the woman that you initially got with? Have you men ever been through an existentialist crisis? And if you have been through one, let's talk about it. Let's talk about if you have been through an existentialist crisis. Because, like I said, guys, many men suffer in silence. They don't have anyone to talk to when they're dealing with their pain. Shout out to my man, Brandon Jett. He said, I've battled through depression and anxiety for the past 5 years. I broke down and got help. I was lucky to get a black male therapist that I could relate to, and he went through some of my same struggles, no doubt. Appreciate it, Brandon Jett. Thank you, sir. And thank you, Brandon Jett, for being so kind with your contribution and time over the span that we dealt with. I really appreciate it, brother. And guys, I need y'all to do me a favor. Get this stream to at least 5 or 10 men. You know, just don't get this show and listen to it for yourself. I know Thanksgiving is around the corner, and maybe folks are out shopping. Maybe, I don't know. But let's get this stream popping a little bit, guys. There's only 16 people in this house, but this is going to be a good show because I'm going to drop the link at some point, and we're going to talk about the existentialist crisis that you have been dealing with and what Jason David Frank meant to you. We're going to drop the link at some point, and we're going to talk about it. But, guys, get this stream up. If I can get 5 people to share this stream, I need you guys, once you share it, to hit 1. Because there are some men right now that are going through an existentialist crisis. They're on the periphery of suicide. They're thinking about taking their lives. Because the woman they thought that they loved them, she no longer loves them anymore. The woman that he thought that would stick with him through sickness and health, better or worse, she's no longer there. You guys know, and I know, that 70 to 90% of divorces are initiated by women for a myriad of reasons. The more educated a woman is, the higher the chances of divorces. And so that becomes a problem and becomes problematic, guys, when you have invested so much of your life and time into a relationship. And a woman just say, you know what, I don't love you anymore. And she just divorces you for whatever reason. How does that benefit you? And the truth is, it doesn't benefit you. It doesn't benefit you at all. But see, now women don't honor the office of marriage anymore. They don't honor it. Shout out to my man, XL Pro. He said, I've dealt with a crisis in the past. No doubt, brother. I appreciate it for the 5, for the 4. Thank you, XL Pro. I appreciate it, brother. But we're going to talk about it because some of you guys were friends of, or not friends, but some of you guys admired Jason David Frank. We're going to talk about what he meant to you, but also we're going to talk about your existentialist crisis as well. Guys, you know, before in the past, I talked about something called the inner sanctum of masculinity. And I'm going to go back and review that just a little bit. Hold tight. Because that whole conversation rang true to my heart. This whole show about this whole concept about Jason David Frank, guys. It rung real true to me, and also it's rung real true to you all as well. But I'm gonna see if I can find that show that I did, guys, a while back, talking about the inner sanctum of masculinity. Because that's going to help set the template for the show on tonight, and then we're going to drop the link. Because mental health matters. Your pain matters. Your struggle matters. Your fears matter. All of that matter. And when you're not getting your needs met on a consistent basis, that becomes a problem. No man should have to suffer in silence. No man should have to suffer and not hear other people hear his story or hear his pain. That should never happen. Every man should have someone that they can talk to when they're going through their crisis and when they're going through their pain. But sadly, so many don't have anyone to talk to. They just deal with it. And many times the ones that deal with it, they deal with it in a negative way. And I don't want you guys to deal with your trauma or your stresses in a negative way. I want you guys to have some resolve. This is a show I did a couple of months ago, guys. We're going to look at it for a few minutes. It's going to make sense because I told you guys never fall in love. Never fall in love. You can love within reason, but never fall. That's the key word. Never fall in love. You never love that woman so much that you get so engulfed that you lose yourself in that relationship. No woman is worth that. You can love your woman, but you love her within reason. Hold tight. And then, guys, we're going to drop the link. I'm going to play a little bit of this because this show is powerful. And this was during Valentine's Day, guys. So hold tight. Hold tight. Let me see here. So this show, guys, is how does love benefit men in modern times, and it doesn't. But I'm gonna let this play for a few minutes. I want you guys to let it marinate, and then we're gonna talk about it. Hold tight. I told you that part of the Manhood Chronicles is based on this premise: that manhood is a series of hills and valleys, victories and failures, and manhood is a journey, not a destination. And whereas men, we may not agree on all things or ideologies, and we won't always agree on all things. And we will not always agree on ideologies, and that's okay. But we come together as allies of a common cause, only to dissipate and or go away when the crisis is over. There is a crisis in heteronormative masculinity centered around, once again, the nebulous concept called love. And we got to ask ourselves the question, does love benefit men? Does Valentine's benefit men? Have you been a sucker for the dopamine rush called love? Because dopamine is tied to that neural stimulating hormone called dopamine. And we got to talk about it, guys, because many men have been more or less saboteurs of their own ignorance because they failed for the nebulous concept called love. Back in the past, I remember the Little Rascals, and on the Little Rascals, he said that I'm in the mood for love. I think it was Spanky. And he said, simply because you're near me. And that was a time when women more or less exuded the virtues of being feminine. They exuded the virtues of being a girly girl. And they exuded the virtues of the women of the past that were synonymous to being honorable and also worthy of love and adulation. But the question remains now is, do modern women qualify for love? And I say modern women because I'm not talking about traditional women. I'm not talking about traditional women. A traditional woman knows her place in the dichotomy or the ecosystem of a man. She's been conditioned to come into the relationship to serve her man. And because she's been conditioned to come into the relationship to serve her man, she is a byproduct of the blessings that man's going to give to her, because she realizes that man will love her if she honor and respect him as a man. And as Bishop Charles E. Williams said, y'all ain't gonna talk to me. But I want to talk about it because, Keith Sweat made a song back in the 90s, If You Were a Gen Xer. And some will argue that men have been conditioned to be simps. And I told you guys that there are two types of simps. One is a conscious simp. The other one is a unconscious simp. The conscious simp stands for sacrificing important masculine principles. The conscious simp knows what he's doing is wrong, but he does it anyway because he's been blinded by the love and the beauty of a woman. But watch this. The unconscious simp is a byproduct of men that have grown up in single-parent homes many times. And the unconscious simp means supplementing irrational male patterns, because it's irrational to give a woman something that has not earned it if she haven't earned it. It's irrational to put a woman above your purpose as a man. It's irrational to esteem that woman higher than you esteem yourself. That's irrational. And that's why, men, we got to have these conversations, because you guys have been product and or byproducts of negative socialization, and you've been byproduct of something called negative conditioning, social conditioning. And because of that, so many of you men have learned to defer your power instead of demanding power. The late, great Frederick Douglass said it, Bella and I could say it, as we are in Black History Month. Frederick Douglass said that power never conceded to anything without a struggle. It never have, and it never will. And so the question remains is, what are you willing to concede as it relates to your masculinity as a man? What are you willing to give up to the point that you lose your dignity as a man. Because what I've learned as it relates to the psychology of women, women only respect men to stand in power and strength because she was designed to look up to you. She was designed to serve you if you believe in the tenets of theology. The gospel says that the woman was made for the man, if you believe in that. But even if you don't believe in the tenets of the Bible, the Torah and the Quran to more or less supports it because it's all part of the patriarchal system of God. Now we're going to talk about it, guys, because, do modern women qualify for love? Do they qualify for your time? Do they qualify for your attention? Do they qualify for your resources? Because so many of you men have such low self-esteem, you just give it away for free. She hasn't done anything for you, but you have decided to more or less esteem her higher than you esteem yourself. And because you have begun to esteem her higher than you esteem yourself, you have got a condition called a schema affliction. And a schema is based on a fixation in your head that's led to fear associated with the pain of the past. And I told you guys the part of group therapy is something called corrective recapitulation, which basically means I got to go back to the past and correct that thing that held me renderless or that I surrendered to from my past. I got to go back to the past and remember how I became a simp. Because once again, she only respects power and strength. Are you willing to stand on power and strength? Are you willing to fortify your inner sanctum as a man? Are you willing to stand on masculine principles, even to the point that you might lose out on some vagina? We're going to have these conversations, men, because women only respect masculine men. But liberal indoctrinations and liberal dogmas have more or less taught you that the more masculine you are is a byproduct of a condition called toxic masculinity. But watch this. That ardent feminist that more or less propels the silly notion of toxic masculinity actually loves a masculine man when she's in the bedroom. She loves a man that will check her when she's wrong. Because indoctrination through socialization never supersedes the intrinsic nature of a woman's nature. It'll never succeed it. We talk about a condition called nature versus nurture. And ideally, they both should be coalescing or balanced together. But socialization, many times, is not as powerful as the intrinsic nature of femininity, because a woman needs a man to be masculine, because it's the duality of the synchronicity of man and women. I call it optimization through the byproduct of synchronization. Because when a man and woman come together, they've been optimized to be synchronized. And this Valentine's Day, many of you men have begun to give your power away. You're giving your power away to women that don't respect you. You're giving your power away to women that don't honor you. You're giving your power away because you feel like you gotta buy her a Valentine's Day present. But the question remains, has she earned that Valentine's Day present? What has she done for you that says she deserves it, only based on negative social conditioning where you feel like I got to do it, if not, she's going to be mad at me? Because if you gave her Valentine's only because of the host for sex, well, you're used to sex. You get that every day. She getting a trifecta. She getting your penis, she's getting the Valentine gift, and she's getting taken out for dinner. But what are you getting in return? The gospel says, honor thy father and thy mother. It doesn't say honor thy mother and thy father. It says honor thy father and their mother, because man was here first. And man is the first fruit of God's creation, if you believe in theology. But I want to talk about it because Kevin Samuels talked about something called Galentine's Day. And also here recently, Antonio Gates is going to do a divorce. And so the question remains, does the nebulous concept of love benefit men? Does love benefit men? And does Valentine's Day benefit men in these modern times that we're speaking in? So guys, get the likes up. If you have not donated, donate to the show. Hit Cash App $7 Smalls. If you don't have anything to share, guys, share the content. Share the content if you don't have anything to share. Because some of y'all might be broke because y'all been paying all your money. Y'all kicked all the money, them flowers and cards and candy. And you got to take your woman out to, to a nice restaurant. But I want to be clear on this. I'm not against a man taking care of a good traditional woman, a woman that honors him as a man, loves him as a man, and respects him as a man. I'm not against that at all. Because in fair exchange, there is no robbery. There's no robbery, guys, in fair exchange. But the question remains, what are you getting as a fair exchange in this current time that we live in called America? What are you getting, men? Are you getting fair exchange from the modern woman? Have you became a saboteur of your own ignorance because you've been socialized to think I gotta do it? And I'm here to break that schema of affliction on today, brothers. I'm here to restructure that cognitive issues that you're having in your head because you have been conditioned to think that you must give her something without making her earn it. And what I've learned with women actually respect men that make them earn things. She might fight you in the beginning, but it's in her nature and it's in the human nature to fight for things that they got to work for. Humans tend to build character based on things they have to earn. But things that are given simply and easily, people don't respect. And that's why we got to have this conversation, guys. We got to have this conversation. So once again, get the likes up. Get the likes up. Share this content. If you have not shared the content, donate the Cash App $7 Smalls. So I want you guys to let that marinate because this is going to be a great show. And I love the brotherhood. I love the brotherhood. And I want to see you men win. I don't want you men to come in to therapy sessions depressed and broken because you found out your woman cheated on you, or you found out she didn't really love you, but she was just using you for her own benefit. I believe that in relationships, men and women both should benefit. I believe that a woman should benefit as long as her man is benefiting. But I don't believe that a man should just give his best to a woman that have not earned it, because that's negative behavior modification. In a good relationship, she benefits and he benefits. It's complements of one another. It's symmetry. It's congruence. But when she's constantly benefiting and he's not benefiting, then that's positive reinforcement for the woman, but it's negative reinforcement for the man. And basically what you're teaching her that her worth matters more than your worth as a man. And what happened in that relationship, it does not teach her to respect you, but it will teach her to use you as a commodity only to satiate her fickle needs as a woman. But you got to be in a relationship where you benefit as a man and where she benefits as a woman. But the question remains is, guys, how many of you men have given your power away because you've been conditioned by your mom? Your mom told you, son, just give her some flowers. Your mom told you, baby, take her out to dinner. Your mom told you, son, buy her a bracelet or buy her a necklace. That's what your mom told you. And she meant well. She only did what was more or less predicated on her hard drive as a woman. But a masculine dad would have told you, boy, listen here. If she don't respect you as a man, you tell her what you expect. If she doesn't tighten her game up and step her game up, you get rid of her, boy. That's what your dad would have told you. That's what a masculine man would have told you. Not a cream puff. And that's what's happening now. We're living in times when we don't have enough masculine men. We don't have enough of them. And that's why our boys know what masculinity look like. They don't know what it looked like because they've never seen it. They've never seen true masculinity. Masculinity manifest in their communities. And they definitely haven't seen true masculinity manifest in the churches. Because there was a time that true masculinity was manifest, guys, in the churches. But you don't see it anymore because many preachers have compromised the message of the gospel for the sake of money. They compromise. You know, they love money more than they love the gospel, the truth. And Jesus said you can't serve two masters. Either you're going to love one or you're going to hate the other, but you can't serve two. You can't love mammon more than you love dignity as a man. And I get it. It's tempting when people are giving you money to compromise. It's very tempting. But pain is temporary, brethren, and glory is forever. And which one would you rather choose? The temporary pleasures of fleeting money, or more or less standing in your dignity as a man and letting your name be more or less entrenched in the echelons of time? And they say that man stood for principles. He stood for what's right in a time where so many were willing to compromise. So we got to have these conversations, brothers. We got to have these conversations. Brethren, we got to have them. Because it's time for men to be empowered. It's time for men to recalibrate how they've been socialized to think. It's time for men not to be victims like Antonio Gates. Because Antonio Gates now is a victim. Antonio Gates now is going to have a schema affliction. And now Antonio Gates is going to be impacted because now Antonio Gates might say, I can't trust women anymore. I can't give my best to a woman because I don't know if she's going to protect my six. Because I told you, women, if you're willing to protect his six, which is his ego, he'll protect your six, is his ability to love you as a woman. But if you're not willing to protect his six, which is his ego, because men are at their best when they know that their ego is protected. You might say, what is his ego? Your ability to be loyal is part of his ego. Your ability to honor him is part of his ego. Your ability to respect him is part of his ego. Your ability to do things when you don't feel like doing it is part of his ego. Because that man knows that if you can protect me and respect me and love me when you don't feel like doing it, then that's a good woman. That's a keeper because she's not a slave to her emotions. She's very cerebral. She's aware. She has self-awareness. So we're going to talk about it, guys. Get the likes up once again. If you have not shared the content, share the content. If you guys have not donated, I need you guys to donate because this is going to be a good show. And I respect and honor what I'm trying to do, and I'm trying to help you brothers out. So let me read some of these comments real quick. Eden's Edelman said, Coach, do you believe some men have become simps in order to sustain their child's life? Yes, some have, and some part. They're simps, they're compromising their masculinity as a man, no doubt. I believe that. AM1 says zero benefits unless you sell corny Valentine's Day merchandise. Right. It really is no benefit because I believe Valentine's Day should be about the woman also professing her love for her man. But too many men have given their power away because, you know, that's what they've been conditioned to do. They think that's what they're supposed to do. Shout out to my man, Sean, Big Mac, the Fisher, for the $10 super sticker. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that.
Right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right?
Brother. Keep working, brother.
That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right?
I appreciate everything you guys do. I appreciate the support. Because these shows are very time consuming, but I love to do it because I want to inspire our men, but more or less I want to inspire the young men. But we're going to talk about it, guys. We're going to talk about it because these conversations are very important. We ain't signing, Blank said there's no such thing as fair exchange in today's relationships. Right, brother, you're right. There is no such thing as fair exchange. There is no such thing as fair exchange. It's only about giving to just one. Always giving to her needs instead of you getting something in return. But Teddy Pendergrass knew it better than me, and I say it all the time. It's so good to love somebody and somebody love you back. Teddy Pendergrass was saying that back in the 70s when I was a little boy. But, you know, back then, you know, they were more complementary in the relationship. But they're not complementary now. They're very narcissistic because she thinks that her need is more important than your need as a man. And you can't allow yourself to fall victim to that kind of pathology, brothers. You can't allow yourself to fall victim. Michael Graham said most of these dudes need to stop simping to average-looking women and wonder why they're considered in the friend zone. I totally agree with you 100%, brother. There was a time, Michael Graham, where average women were very humble. But see, social media, because of simping, have made average women think they're better than what they really are. Average women were humble women back in the day when I was growing up before we had all this social media, back in the 90s. They were average, but they were very humble. But then you got average chicks weigh 500 pounds. They think they're special, and they're not. And they get mad. They can be a 4, but they want a guy that's a 9 or a 10. What kind of bizarro mess does that the sense of that make? It doesn't make any sense. My thoughts. I was a family man, but was simping to keep my lady. She left anyway. Right, brother. Right. She left anyway, and that's why I do these shows. My thoughts are freedom. That's why I do these shows, brothers. That's why I do the shows, because I want you guys to become cerebral in how you think. She only respects power and strength, and we all have simped to some degree. We all have simped to some degree, some more and some less. But that's why we talk about these issues in the universality of brotherhood. Because the question remains, does Valentine's and love benefit the average or the modern man? And I would say it doesn't. Because you should never marry a woman based on the feelings called love. Listen, men, we are more or less wired to give. It's in our nature to give. That's why we become simps, because sometimes we can be slaves to our biology. We're slaves to our biology as men. We want to give. But you don't give to a woman that has not earned that as a man. You got to make her earn it. Just don't give it to her. And sadly, that's what happened to Justin David Frank. He probably loved that woman more than he loved himself. And that's why he's in the graveyard now. And that's why these shows are important. You have to recalibrate how you think about thinking and dealing with modern women in modern times. Most women do not love you the same way you love them. And that's okay. That's part of their nature. Women gonna love through their feelings first. A woman can, listen, you're gonna know when a woman really loves you when she can control her emotions and her desire to go outside of her emotions. But women are slaves to their emotions. Like men can be slaves to their penis and they don't have discipline. But if she can love you outside of her feelings, then that woman is a candidate for love, man. That's when you give her as much as you can with restrictions. But some of you guys have not learned to love yourself because you over-identify with women because you never had masculine men in your circle. And that's why, once again, having a father is not enough. It's part of it, but having a father is not enough. And I've talked about that in the past, but let's keep listening. Then we're going to drop the link and we're going to talk about the life and the death of Jason David Frank, what he meant to you. And also, if you guys are going through existentialist crisis, guys, give me 5 guys to share this stream because some people could be dealing with depression with the holidays encroaching. So please share the stream. Thank you. But because some of you guys have such low self-esteem, you got average women that are rejecting you. When you do get some attention or some sexual validation, you lose your rabbit-loving mind. But I'm a firm believer that the more you become aware of what your power is as a man, the more you travel abroad to deal with average women and also prettier women, the more you'll realize how much power that you really have as a man. And I want you guys to realize how much power that you have. I don't want you to be a slave to your own ignorance. I don't want you to be a slave to your own ignorance. I don't want you to compromise your power as a man based on how your mothers and your grandmothers taught you. Because some of those women didn't know any better, but some of them did. She's going to only do what's based on her intrinsic nature to do. But you get to go against that as a man because your value matters as a man. Your time matters as a man. Your self-worth matters as a man. And as Bishop Charles E. Williams said, y'all ain't going to talk to me. Get the likes up, guys. Get the likes up because I got some fire for your mind. I got some fire for your mind on today. Fire for your mind. I got some fire for your mind on today because we're going to dispel the myth about Valentine's and love for the typical man. Big Man, the Fisher said, the world has told us that masculinity is toxic and that we need to change it because it makes today's women suffer. Right. It's foolishness. It's very foolish. Edith Edelman said, I think we should go to the courthouse until we have proven we deserve a big wedding. I totally agree with you, dear. You're 100% correct, Edith Edelman. I agree with you 100%. And guys, share this content. Share this content with like-minded men and women. Don't share it with anybody. I need at least 5 people to share this content. Once you share this content, you guys hit the 1 button. We're about 20 away, 15 away from 3,000 subs. I'm going to get 3,000 subs on this show tonight. I want to get to 3,000. Well, I need you guys to share this content. Share this content with at least 5 people. When the 5 people share, hit 1. I need 5 people to share the content. Once you share it, hit 1. And like I say, share it because I want you guys to help other men become liberated. Don't take all this knowledge and hold it for yourself. Give it to other brothers if you think what I'm doing is good work. Because I want to see our men liberated. I want to see black men and white men and all men liberated. I want them to know what their intrinsic worth is as a man. I don't want them to compromise their power. So I need you guys to share the content. Share this content. Share this content, get the likes up. Once you've shared it, I need you guys to hit 1. I need 5 people. Only 5 people to share the content. And my thoughts and freedom said that's exactly what he was doing, like many men. Golden Child 325 said Valentine's Day is a woman's holiday. It's designed to make money off men. Right, Simps. I totally agree. Solo Mike said, he said, I sent before, paid all the bills, everything she left me for a guy with no job. Right. Dysfunctional. Clement Gray said, brother, just went through this yesterday at an SB party. Said sisters need to hold each other accountable, only to be demeaned by the women with no husband, saying black men not held each other accountable. Yeah, you're right. I agree with you, Clement, Mike. You can't make it up, brother. You can't make this stuff up, man. Thank you, Cool Gent and Top Gun. Thank you, brothers. You can't make it up. They want good men, but they want good men on their own terms. And masculine men are not going to give their power away. They're going to demand it. Thank you, Miss Parker. Thank you, guys. Top Gun, Cool Gent. Miss Parker, thank you. I need one more. And I'm going to drop some fire for your mind. I need one more. I need one more person to share the content. Once you share it, hit 1. I need one more. As I'm reading these comments, being simping for decades, there's no hope to stop and keep the family whole. Right. Shout out to my man, My Thoughts and Freedom. He said, preaching the gospel. No doubt, brother.
That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right?
And white men, and Asian men, and Indian men. I'm going to keep preaching it. Because that's what God called me to do. He called me to liberate the brotherhood. He put fire in my mouth. It's been in my heart to do this for years. I knew back in 2009, actually I knew when I was 11 years old that I was called to lead and to counsel people. It's in my heart and it's in my nature to see our men do well. Because I don't want to see no man suffer in silence. I don't want to see another man go to the grave broken. I don't want to see it. I want to see our men live their life on their own terms, not being saboteurs of their own ignorance. So once again, guys, thank you for everybody. Thanks for everybody's doing. I appreciate it. Shout out to Before the Billion, to call him the Young Lion. Shout out to my beautiful friend, Smurfette. I call her my chocolate Smurf. Sir Hill Speaks, the Young Lion, been killing the game here lately, man. Shout out to him, Sir Hill Speaks, for that $9 super sticker. He said salute to the kosher clinician, no doubt. And that's why we do these shows, man. Right? That's brothers like Sir Hill Speak. That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Actually, I apologize. You should turn up the volume, so hold tight. Let me turn the volume up. Hold on. I apologize. Thank you, Ray Hammer. I appreciate it, brother. But guys, that's why you cannot be a victim like Jason David Frank. He had an existentialist crisis because he loved that woman more than he loved himself. And these shows I've done from the past, and the vault was a rendition of why you guys should love yourself. We're going to drop the link at some point. I want the men to come on and talk about what Jason David Frank meant to you. And if you're going through an existentialist crisis, hold tight. I'm going to drop the link at some point. Hold tight. Shout out to her on this Valentine's Monday. But we're going to keep having this conversation, guys. We're going to keep having this conversation because are modern women entitled to what men give them? Do they feel like they're entitled? Are they entitled to the love of a man? Do modern women qualify for love? Do you feel that modern women are entitled to the love of a man? If so, hit yes. Should a man love a woman only within reason? Should he love her only within reason? And what I mean by loving her within reason, when he loves her within reason, guys, guess what? He's not willing to give all his power away if he loves her within reason. But if he just loves a woman blindly, then he will become a victim of his own ignorance. So I'm a firm believer that you can love a woman through reason, but you can't give away your power 100%. You can't give it away. And I think too many men have given their power away because they don't know what their worth is. So the question remains, does love benefit men and Valentine's Day? And we're gonna put the poll up because I would say no. I would say only to a woman that's an honorable woman, and only to a woman that's willing to serve her man in a noble way. Only to an honorable woman, and only to a woman who's willing to serve her man in a very noble way. I tell men all the time that you should love her within reason, because if you love her within reason, guys, watch this. If you love her within reason, when she don't feel like loving you, when she decides to divorce you, and she will do it, you'll still have your peace, and your inner sanctum as a man will be intact. I'm a firm believer that man should love God first, whatever God you believe in. I believe in the God of the Bible. He should love God first. After he loved God first, then he should love his purpose second. After he loved his purpose, then he should love his woman. Because your purpose should never supersede your love for a woman. I'm going to say it again. Your purpose should never supersede your love for a woman. Because man, when he was in the garden, was alone, but he was not lonely. Watch this. Man was alone, but he was not lonely because he was busy worshiping God, and he was on his purpose as a man. But men always fall when they let their love for a woman supersede their purpose, guys. Men always fall as a man when they let their love for a woman supersede their worship of God, guys. And that's when they fall, because they fell in love. And that's why you should never fall in love. You should love a woman within reason. Because when you fall in love, you will lose your sense of your purpose. When you fall in love, you'll lose your relationship with God, because now you're making this woman an idol. You're making her an idol over your masculinity as a man. And she should never supersede your masculinity as a man. Your masculinity as a man, your love for God, your love for your purpose should supersede the love that you have for a woman. That's why you got to discipline yourself as a man. You have to discipline yourself. And that's why the gospel said you shall love a woman in accord to knowledge, because she's the weaker vessel. But watch this. When you love a woman within reason, guess what? Not only are you protecting yourself, you're also protecting her. Because a woman wants a man that's not going to make her an idol. A real woman doesn't. A woman wants a man that she can look up to. A woman wants a man that she needs to seek his validation. She's been wired to serve you as a man. And if you take care of her, then she's going to take care of you. But some of you men have been conditioned to give your power away because you think about giving your power away, it's going to make her love her. But no, that don't make her love you. That's why she loved Raekwon the Man Man. Because Raekwon the Man Man make her earn that validation. But some of you guys on your knees, dragging your knuckles, being goofy, talking about, oh, I'm going to buy her flowers and presents. I was that way at one point, because that's how I was conditioned. I thought I was supposed to give her flowers for nothing. She didn't earn those flowers. She didn't earn my money. She didn't earn my time. You got to make her earn it. Because see, what's happened, simping has led many modern women to a condition called narcissism. They have narcissistic traits because simps have taught them that their value was more important than your value as a man. And then when she decides to leave you, and she will, that's when you guys begin to have schema afflictions. That's when you guys begin to think about hurting yourselves. That's when you guys begin to think about hurting her. That's when you guys go through deep depression. That's when you guys lose everything you got. That's when you guys go to the grave early because you're depressed, because you made her worth better than yours as a man. And I'm fired up about this because nobody gave me this game when I was a young man growing up. Nobody gave me this game. I'm giving you guys free game. And at some point, this game will only be on Patreon. I'm giving you guys this game for free because I want to see you men win. I want to see you men win. I don't want your heart broken because you fell in love. You should never fall in love with a woman, but you should love her within reason. I'm going to say it again. You should never fall in love, But you can love her within reason. Within reason basically means that you're not giving her everything. Your inner sanctum is intact because you realize that your purpose on this earth supersedes the fleeting emotion called love. There are 4 types of love, guys. There's agape love. That's the highest form of love. That's what Christ gave to the world. There's storge love. That's the love that a woman has for a child. There's eros love. And most women want eros love. That love is fleeting. Eros love is fleeting. And then there's phileo love. That kind of love goes back to the Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. Brotherly love is what I have for you men. It's the brotherhood. It's seeing you liberated. It's seeing you going to the grave with your ego intact, saying that I've lived my life on purpose. I've lived my life as I'm about to take my last breath and go to the grave on my convictions as a man. I live my life holding my head up high in dignity and honor as a man. I live my life when I'm about to go to the grave. It's what Erickson called ego integrity versus despair. Ego integrity say, I've done those things that are right. I'm ready to leave my legacy to my children. But so many men have gone to the grave broken. They took their last breath and they were broken. They took their last breath and they were sad. They took their last breath and they were frustrated. They took their last breath. Everything they worked hard for was taken away from them. And that's why I say with no fault divorce now. No fault divorce, love does not benefit a modern man. Back in the past, it was okay. Because it was okay to give a woman alimony because most women didn't work back in the past. But now women work just like men. So love does not benefit men on the surface level. But see, men, we got to recalibrate how we think. We can't continue to go by that nebulous old school version of love because women now have caught up with the times. But we still dragging our knuckles back in 1950 talking about love and all this goofy stuff. She doesn't even think like you, but she still wants the benefits of the past while she remains modern. And as a man, you can't allow that because your inner sanctum as a man supersedes, once again, that fickle notion called love. Shout out to my man, MC Recovery and Wellness. Thank you, brother. I'm about to drop some fire for your mind. Thank you, brother. He said, I share it. I just found out I have a half sister. My mother never told me the letter. Wow. I'm 57 years old. Thank God for recovery. Casey, for your fire. No doubt, brother. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that.
That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right?
I appreciate that.
That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right?
And that's why I do as I do as a licensed therapist. I put my heart into these shows, guys. I put a lot of time into these shows. Sometimes 5 and 6 hours. Sometimes writing notes because I want you guys to have the best. I want you men to have the best. But does the modern notion of love, men and women, violate the inner sanctum of masculinity? You might say, what is the inner sanctum? The inner sanctum goes back to theology. The inner sanctum was something called the Ark of the Covenant. That was the presence of God. That was the law of God. But like Mr. Palmer from Child Support said, you got to change the law in your mind. And he said it brilliantly. Shout out to Mr. Palmer. Shout out to that brother. Shout out to Mr. Palmer because Mr. Palmer is correct. In the clinical world, we say you have to restructure your thinking processes, and the is that that's what he is. But Mr. Palmer more made sense, and both he said you got to change the law in your mind, and Mr. Palmer is right because once you change the law in your mind, you will not be a victim of your own ignorance. You got to change the law in your mind. Some of you men are slaves in your mind based on this goofy concept called love. And once again, I'm not against love when you love a woman within reason because the gospel actually tells the man to love his wife like Christ loved the church. So when you love within reason, it's only after she has given a level of service to you as a man because the gospel says she was made for you. She was made to serve you. She's the glory of your creation as a man. She's your glory. And if a woman takes care of a man, guess what? A man's going to turn around and he's going to take care of a woman. But the problem remains as this. If you're not willing to protect his 6, watch this, he's not going to be willing to protect your 6. Shout out to my man, Top Gun. Top Gun said, tear for the Valentine's sermon, no doubt. Thank you, brother.
That's a bet,
I
right?
appreciate
That's a
it.
deal, right?
And,
That's a
and
deal,
shout out
right?
to the lovely Chantel
bet,
Simone. I
right?
love
That's
that
a
sister. I
deal,
call her
right?
the
That's a
exalted
deal,
lioness. I love that sister. She's a good young lady. And she's one of the rare sisters in this time that are what I call, a remnant sister. She's a remnant sister because you don't find a lot of women like her that's willing to look within herself and to change the trajectory of her life. That takes a level of maturity. But many women are not willing to do that. They're willing to always be the victim in the relationship. They're always talking about what the man has done. But you're not going to get the best from a man until you look within yourself as a woman. Michael Jackson said it better than me. He said, I'm looking at the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. And I'm going to ask the women, are you willing to change your ways as a woman? Are you willing to change your mind as a woman? Are you willing to sit back and reflect and ask yourself the question, what does he want in the relationship? What does he need in the relationship? What can I give my man to make him feel good about himself? How am I willing to serve him to make his life better? And I say it's only for good men, not dusty men, not bums, not men that are users, not men that are violators, not men that are part of what I call the 20% quotient. I'm not talking about those kind of men, but I'm talking about good, honorable brothers that are good. I think most men in America, especially brothers, are good men. Because over 53% of men don't have children, never have had them. So there are a lot of good men in this world that many times are invisible because they're not tall, because they don't make a lot of money, but they're hardworking good men. And I'm trying to tell you men this is that you have more power than you realize. You have more power than you realize. And I'm here to liberate your mind on today. Rollo Tomasi wrote a book called The Irrational Male. And the question means, does falling in love value your rationality? Because you shouldn't fall in love, but you should love within reason. So does falling in love violate your rationality as a man? Yes, because when men fall in love, they don't think logically, they think emotionally. And when a man thinks emotionally, he's not on his purpose, as I said earlier. When a man thinks emotionally, then he can't see the error of his way. When a man thinks emotionally, he's been induced by the hypnotic trance called dopamine. Dopamine is a byproduct of the term called dopamine. Dopamine is a feel-good hormone. But what happens when that man is no longer getting that dopamine, he becomes psychotic. And that's why men go on rampages when they fall in love. That's why men take their lives, because they're going through a psychosis or they become psychotic. They lose their lives or they take other women's lives because they believed in the hype called love. You should never love a woman based on the feelings of love alone. If she can't more or less modulate her feelings, then she can't be your woman. But that takes a very mature woman. And every woman doesn't have that mental acuity to do such. Can falling in love cause mental distress and mental disorders? Yes. Falling in love can cause severe depression for men once feel-good hormone is gone. Falling in love can cause men to become anxious. Falling in love can cause a man to defer his power. Falling in love can make a man take another man's life. Falling in love can cause a man to become hyper-aggressive. Falling in love can cause a man to become delusional. And the question remains, is love just an illusion? I would say it is an illusion because it's something that goes away. An illusion is something that you think you see, but that illusion eventually will go away. And the illusions become delusions when you realize that illusion was wrong. An illusion is part of something you think you see, but a delusion is when you think you see it and I give you the and you still believe it. That's a delusion. And that's a condition that we call in the clinical world, it's called a syntonic ego. A syntonic ego means you think that's the way you're supposed to feel. But it's to the contrary of the evidence. And that's not a good thing, brethren. It's not a good thing to fall in love. But you should love a woman through reason. You should love a woman through reason, because hope of mean can lead to a schema affliction. And I don't want no man that's listening to have a schema affliction because he fell in love. God first, your purpose second, and then you love your woman within reason. God first, whatever God you believe in, your purpose second, and then you love your woman within reason. When you do that, then when she say, I don't love you anymore, guess what? You're going to sing that song like Eddie Kendricks, keep on trucking, baby. You ain't going to miss a beat. You'll miss her a little bit, but you won't miss it to the point that you're going to lose your mind, because you realize that your inner sanctum is still intact as a man. That's why I believe in the inner sanctum of masculinity, that holy place that cannot be violated by no man. No man can come into that holy place. And I'm going to tell you something, guys. Many times some will try to violate your inner sanctum as a man. They will test you. Like Delilah did. She tested the inner sanctum of Samson. She said, tell me what your secrets are. And that's where Samson messed up. He messed up because he told her what his secrets were. He told her what his inner sanctum was. And that inner sanctum was a place that was only prescribed for God himself and maybe a few men that he trusts. Because in the multitude of counselors, there's safety. Iron sharpens iron. That's why we need other men to galvanize us. But how many men are actually true masculine men? How many men on the exterior look like men, but they're simps on the inside? And that's why we got to keep having these conversations. That's why we got to have these conversations. We got to have these conversations. We got to have these conversations. Peter Fond asked a question. He said, what percentage of women, ladies, are model? I don't know what the percentage is, Peter, but I would say that the percentage is higher than lower. I think the percentage of modern women is a lot higher. I would say definitely over 50%. And if I had to guesstimate, I would say about 70%. It's only a remnant of women that are willing, in my opinion, to more or less work with their men and help their men build. There's only a percentage of women that's willing to look within themselves to give that man what he needs as a man to become the best version of himself. I would say it's only a small percentage. I had a survey from a couple of brothers in the past, and they even said that they feel that the quality of women is less than 15%. Some gave a very conservative percentage. They said 30%. So that's what I believe, Peter Fond. That's what I believe, Peter Fond. My thoughts are free. He said, it was meant for me to hear this, brother. Yes, sir. Thank you, brother. This is me now. I'm just now trying to pull myself together. It's been 6 months, and she moved out immediately. And I love you, brother. That's why I'm doing what I do. I want to see you liberated as a man. I don't want you to get caught up in this nebulous concept called love, because it's fleeting. But women do need love. Women need the love of a man. She needs to be held. She needs to be told how beautiful she is. She needs to be caressed. And I'm not against love as long as it's within reason. But you just don't give your love away for free. The gospel said, don't cast your pearls to swine. And he was talking about the goodness and the greatness of the gospel. But with some modern women, you can't cast your pearls to swine either, because they're not going to reject it. They're going to reject it. They're not going to respect it. They're not going to respect it. Peter Fond said modern ladies lie for on average over 30 times a day. Right. Chris Norwood said that people use the word love, family, and friends to sneaky more times than not. You're right. You're right. I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. And that's why we got to have these conversations, guys. Peter Fond said God over Jesus, Jesus over man, man over woman, women over children. Right. That's the order of things in the book of Corinthians. Right, Peter Fond. You're correct. You're 100% correct, Peter. I agree with you 1,000%. That's the order of things. It's called the hierarchy. Men do things based on position. Men are very vertical in their thinking. It's a hierarchy. Logan JJ said, why would modern women change their ways when today's society caters to their every needs and so hold them accountable for their own happiness? Right. I agree with you 100%. Chris Norwood, Top Gun says about 75%. I agree with you, Top Gun. Chris Norwood said that majority are women born of the 70s to now typical modern women, right? And I think what men are saying, all they want is a peace of mind. Teddy Pendergrass said it's so hard to find. But that's what men are looking for. Men want to be happy. And I believe in the liberation of our men. I believe in men being celebrated and also validated as well. Let's look at this thing about this clip with what's his name? Can't think of his name. Antonio Gates. And Antonio Gates. All right, guys, we're going to stop it here. We're going to stop it here. Now, let's have a conversation. The link is going to be dropped. And shout out to my man, Don, for the 5. I appreciate it, brother. Thank you, Don, for that 5. Shout out to Don for the 5 for dropping gems on tonight. And guys, the link is going to be dropped because I want to hear you guys' point of view, but I want you guys to hear that old classic that I did. What Jason David Frank did was that he fell too deep in love. He fell in love. He didn't love that woman through reason. Let me tell you something, guys. When a man falls in love, a woman leaving him or a woman hurting him, it's sometimes it's equal to death or worse, because men by nature are not very emotional. We just don't fall in love. But when men do get in love with a woman, we become very vulnerable. Our psyche becomes greatly impaired. And sometimes some men don't come back. I had a family member back in the 70s, and he took his life because he fell in love. And so some of you men that are listening that have been in relationships or have been in love, it's okay, I'm here for you. But you have to change how you think about thinking. Women by nature, guys, are generally the same. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. They're just women, if they're not trained, if they're not disciplined, if they don't have spirituality or faith or temperance or self-awareness, they tend to think how they feel first. They think about the consequences later. Men, we see things head up. We see everything from our periphery. We can see it. We can see things long term because we're logical. That's how God wired us. And I know to some of the men that are listening that have been hurt, it destroys your ego. Because men by nature want to protect what they love. But once again, you love through reason, but you never love her more than you love yourself. You can love your woman. You die for her if you have to die for her. But you never love her more than you love yourself, because once you love her more than you love yourself, you get off your purpose. Shout out to my man Top Gun for that $9 super sticker. No doubt, Top Gun. Top Gun said, question to the fellas in the chat. How many of you single guys that have a woman that's actually going to cook Thanksgiving dinner for you tomorrow? The only one that I have married, the only ones that are married, need to make it make sense. Shout out to my man Top Gun.
Right?
Guys, I'm going to drop the link, man, because I'm going to hear you guys' conversation about.
That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right?
About Jason David Frank and what he meant to you, and if you can empathize with that brother. Shout out to my man XL Pro once again. So guys, here's a link. Guys, share this stream, and let's talk about it. And guys, get this stream up and get the likes up. This is a call-in. I'd love to hear from the men. If there's some women that want to come in, you can come in as well. And let's have a conversation about the life and the death of Jason David Frank. I'm sure he meant a lot to some of you men. Let's have a conversation. The link has been dropped. And let's talk about the life and death of Jason David Frank and how his story actually parallels with yours. Because some of you men are going through the same thing that that brother went through. But some of you guys live to tell the story. Sadly, Jason David Frank did not live to tell the story. He's in the grave. And we don't want that to happen to anyone. It's my mission that men don't suffer in silence. But it's my mission that men can live their lives on their own terms. How you doing, sister? Peace of my mind. How you doing, young lady? What's going on?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great, sister. No doubt. So how would you like to add to the conversation, peace of my mind? And you know, I don't know if you know about the Power Rangers, but Jason David Frank was a Power Ranger. I think you're a millennial, so you might know about it. He lost his life.
Yeah.
So go ahead, sis.
Absolutely. So first of all, I do know about the Power Rangers. Like, they was my favorite. I had the beeper and everything growing up.
Okay, good.
So
good.
completely heartbroken. And I won't stay up here too long because I know you guys are having a conversation. But I just want to say, like, we all have to extend kindness and mercy. Like, especially right now, it's the holidays. That can be a lot on some people. And, that is where the deletion rate actually increases, around these times.
Yes, ma'am.
And I know that everyone isn't getting it right. We're still trying to figure it out and work together, but we have to show some type of compassion and also have self-compassion. So have some mercy for ourselves too. Um, so yeah, that definitely, I don't watch TV a lot, but, scrolling, and then I saw that it definitely, hit me a little bit today.
Right.
But that's all I wanted to just get up here and say to you.
So what do you think about this whole thing? Do you have a better understanding how men feel about the concept of love and falling in love? Because we love different. When men give their best to a woman, and if she's betrayed by deceit or whatever, it can destroy a man mentally. What's your take on that? And have you dealt with male clients that have been victims of, love?
Absolutely, I have.
Talk about it.
It's definitely hard going, through a heartbreak or when you have been deceived by anyone, male or female. But for men, it is a different type of experience. Just because, like you said, we are just designed differently, and so I think it's internalized and processed and expressed, in ways that are different from women. But we do have to be mindful of. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead, sis. Go ahead.
In relationships, we do have to be mindful of how we even, I guess how we communicate with our partners, even if a situation does not work out. You don't necessarily have to take it to war with that, with that person, because you still want them to be okay afterwards. Like the relationship didn't work, but that does not mean that I'm not here forever. Like that's just a part of who you are as a person, and that goes for friendships and stuff too. So I think it's just the overall, like how you treat one person is how you treat everybody. So even I tell people, when you're dating, look at how people treat the other people around them. How are their relationships? How are their friendships? And that will tell you what you're going to get out the relationship. So but that the Power Ranger, I just wanted to give my take on that, because that definitely was an impact.
So the stories that you've heard, sis, we all have been in love before, and I'm sure you've loved and you've had men that loved you. When you anytime you dealt with issues, how did you resolve your conflict? Did you resolve it through being amicable, meaning you understood the hurt and the pain that man was dealing with? How did you deal with?
Absolutely, because it's not about just me. You want to make sure that when you are separating, a lot of the time you think of the financial stuff and all of that, but there are emotional and spiritual components that go along with that as well. So you don't want to just leave your partner hanging, and I know that comes with like a delicate balance, because you don't also want to give that person false hope by trying to be there for them too. So it can, it's a lot that goes into that, which is where and I'm not a relationship expert, so I don't give relationship advice. I just want to say that I'm cognitive behavior therapy. But it's just based on observation and some personal experience.
Right. Well, thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate your insight, and continue your work and service with inspiring men and women as it relates to relationship. I just want to let you know, like I said, love for men is very serious, and I tell any woman that's listening. Don't play with the hearts of a man, because some men either self-delete, or some men can delete you. Not you per se, but other women. So be aware of that, and always be gracious and very diligent and trying to understand men. Thank you, dear, for tuning in. Have a good Thanksgiving with your family. Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Have a good one.
All right, be good. All right, bye-bye. All right, guys. The link has been dropped. Let's have a conversation. What do you think about the life and the death of Jason David Frank? The link has been dropped. Let's have a conversation. What did Jason David Frank mean to you? Were you guys shocked he succumbed to death? I want to have a conversation, guys. You know, it's 25 that are watching. You know, the number's a little low tonight, but that's fine. We're going to still have a conversation to the ones that have been listening. And let's have a conversation about the life and death of David Frank. What did he mean to you? And because I heard a lot of men saying that his death was dear to them, and it caused them to be frustrated, to say the least. So what do you guys think? Let's have a conversation. Did you remember this Power Ranger? Are you dealing with an existentialist crisis? Are you struggling with some distress and pain from your past? And have you ever been spellbound by love? So guys, the link has been dropped. Now, guys, I know y'all ain't gonna let a lady out, do y'all? I need one of the brothers to tune in. Y'all can pop on and let's have a conversation. Tell me what you guys think. But in the meantime, I'm going to run my commercial real quick. Shout out to my man, what's his name? Kyron Corinde. Women have a little compassion for men. If they can monkey branch in a hypergamous fashion, they instantly move on. Let's talk about it. I don't know how to say your name. Corinde, I think that's your name. Let's talk about it, guys. 25 in the house. Let's get the likes up. Let's talk about it, guys. The link has been dropped. Let's have a conversation before I end this stream, because I would like to hear what you guys are talking about. I know folks are getting ready for Thanksgiving. I hope you guys have a very wonderful Thanksgiving, a safe Thanksgiving, and thank you for the few that are in here tonight that are tuning in. But this show was dear to my heart. Don't know what's going on with this algorithm, man. These numbers have been a little low here lately, but that's fine. We're going to keep trucking. But let's have a conversation, guys. What do y'all think about the life and the death of David Frank, Jason Frank? What did he mean to you as a man? But in the meantime, let me go ahead and run this commercial real quick. And then, guys, hopefully somebody else will come in and we can have a conversation. Hold tight.
Are you a victim of brokenness and despair? A broken man is a hopeless man, and a hopeless man is a very dangerous man. Many times, many of you young men that are listening come from homes that are very toxic and very dysfunctional. And because of that, many of you have deferred your power in many ways, to the point it's led over into your social life, and many times led over into your relationships. If you guys are dealing with mental health pathologies, conscious and unconscious, come see me at kosherclinician@gmail.com. That's kosherclinician@gmail.com. It's important that you deal with your mental health in order to be a better person for yourself, your loved ones, and also your community. But because mental health is often stigmatized, many of you often suffer in silence. Don't be a victim in silence. And see me once again at kosherclinician@gmail.com. And I need you guys to remember this. If it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, it ain't right. There are 7 steps that a man must go through in order to become an optimized male. And male mental health is one of those elements that's paramount to the functioning of a man. Be well.
All right, guys. So the link has been dropped. Who want to come in and have a conversation? If not, I'm going to end this stream in a minute or two. But I just wanted more. Let's talk about it. But let me run this commercial ad as well. Hold tight.
Tell them run it off. I wake up. Yeah. I wake up, flex, I'm down now. Check, no drip, this wet. Tell them run it up. No sleep, no rest. Might crash, might wreck. But first I stretch. Tell them run it up. I wake up, flex, I'm down now. Check, no drip, this wet. Tell them run it up. No sleep, no rest. Might crash, might wreck. But first I stretch. Tell them run it up. 9 out of 10, roll through my hands, I'm by my lonely. Turned to a savage, now my baby wants to hold me. I love my fans, don't need no friends, I got my homies.
All right, guys, it appears y'all not going to come in, so I'm going to count down, give you another minute or two, and then I'm going to end this stream if no one can want to come in and talk about the life and death of Michael David Frank. Don't know what's going on, guys. I missed the conversations. I don't know, it's weird. It's extremely weird, but it's all good. But are you dealing with an existentialist crisis? And if so, in what capacity? How have you overcome it? And if you are, let's have a conversation. But it appears that no one want to talk, so I'm about to end this stream in a minute, guys. Let me play this little clip real quick. And if no one will come in after the 5-minute interlude, I'm going to end the stream. Thank you.
I got an itch in my palm. My girl, she know she the one. I put the ice on her hand. I put some ice on her arm. See me shining in the light. Know you found me in the dark. Talking how you wanna leave. Girl, you made this far. Taking trips overseas. No, I won't be long. We came up from the weeds. Now it's top floor. All these big gets on her wrist. VVS is on her neck. Make it spinning, I don't stress. When I make it stretch. Double back to back then. Down broke, now we rich. Spend it on her, let her spin. Down with me to the end. That my best friend. That my best friend. That my best friend. I'ma spend it on her, cause she all mine. Spend it on a challenge, cause she all mine. There for my first cake, then we hit 100K. $500,000 on the way, then $1 million on the way. Eating good, full plates, eating good, say grace. Eat her up, get thanks. She got cake birthday. I can't waste no way, I can't waste no play. My girl, whoa, whoa, something like the baddest chick. My girl, whoa, whoa, came up from the rags to rich. Hit the road running, I had to tell her I had to get it. She understood, but she spoiled, so when she get mad, she dip. She do. All these big gets on her wrist, VVS is on her neck. Make it spinning, I don't stress. When I make it stretch. Double back to back then. Down broke, now we rich. Spend it on her, let her spin. Down with me to the end. That my best friend. That my best friend. That my best friend. I'ma spend it on her, cause she all mine. Spend it on a challenge, cause she all mine. All these big gets on her wrist, VVS is on her neck. Make it spinning, I don't stress. When I make it stretch. Double back to back then. Down broke, now we rich. Spend it on her, let her spin. Down with me to the end. That my best friend. That my best friend. That my best friend. I'ma spend it on her, cause she all mine. All these big gets on her wrist, VVS is on her neck. Make it spinning, I don't stress. Spend it on a challenge, cause she all mine. That my best friend. That my best friend. That my best friend.
All right, guys. Doesn't appear that anyone's going to come in and share a conversation on the night about the life and death of Jason. I can't think of his name, but once again, Jason David Frank. If not, that's fine. Here we got Mr. Allen. All right, here we go, brother. What's going on, Mr. Allen? What's your take on this conversation? And how would you like to add to the conversation about the life and death of Jason David Frank and this whole concept called love? How you doing, sir?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
Doing great.
Actually, I was surprised by it because I'm an 80s baby. And I, of course, like many people in my age bracket, watched Power Rangers growing up. It caught me off guard because you didn't really hear about the guy in the news or hear anything negative about him. So for him to just be here and then gone was kind of a shock. But he's a shining example of just the standard that most American men have to deal with right now when it comes to marriage and women and things of that nature. It is what it is.
Right. I totally agree, man. I agree 1,000%. What was it about the situation that shocked you the most, though?
I haven't done enough research on it to speak intelligently about it. But just hearing that he passed, that right there, that got me. I just had a conversation maybe 45 minutes ago with one of my associates. He's currently going through it with his ex in regards to how she's raising their children after she divorced, raped them. And I understand why I kind of had to talk him off the ledge because his situation is kind of dire. But I understand why some men opt out. I do. Myself personally, I wouldn't do it, but nah, I get it. I definitely get it.
You know, this time, have you ever been in a predicament where you thought about taking your life because of love? And you share what you feel comfortable sharing, Mr. Allen, but have you ever been in a predicament like that? And let's talk about some of the things that you went through when you were dealing with it.
Taking my life, no. But what I can say is I definitely felt like I was in a hole when I went through my first starter marriage. It wasn't comfortable. It was a very dark place that I would not wish on anybody. But the reality of it is, as men, oftentimes we go through it and we grow through it in the process. That's just the process.
Right.
I was a married man with children, and all of a sudden I woke up one day and she rolled out. So I get it. That can be very traumatizing to any man's psyche.
What did you? Yeah, go ahead, brother. I'm sorry. I apologize. Go ahead.
Oh, please forgive me. Yesterday you had a family. Today you don't. So I definitely get it.
What did it do to you, Mr. Allen, about how you view or see women? Did it give you a greater understanding of women? Did you pathologize all women as being bad? Or did you just see things for what it was?
Initially, I was extremely red-pilled. I pretty much saw all women as being something different, something not quite what I initially thought I understood them to be. But eventually, I just learned to take people on a case-by-case basis. Like, we've all had trauma growing up. One of my biggest flaws was I tried to save my ex, and there was no saving someone who was on a path of destruction. So,
right. Explain that about saving. Explain.
I thought I was being a good guy because she had been. I use the word mistreated in her youth and her childhood. And no matter how I thought we could build and make things happen, she just wasn't having it. She never admitted it out loud to me, but her actions spoke volumes. She was a destructive person that wanted to only see destruction, nothing more.
Right. So it sounds like to me that she was, even though she was in a relationship, she was emotionally unavailable. Does that sound right?
That is correct.
Right. Do you have a better understanding of females and female nature in general? Even though you look at a woman case by case basis, what have you learned about female nature that's kept you grounded as a man, not to go back in that dark place again? Because that dark place is dangerous for a lot of men.
Well, what I've learned as a man is to accept what is. Whatever you can't change, you can't change. Only work on, excuse me, my dog's in the background. Only work on and change what you can. And that's pretty much it.
Right, right. How have you been an asset to other men that have been struggling with some of the same things?
Just a reality check and acceptance. It is what it is. Most of us, that saying is very underrated. It is what it is. But the reality of it is, it really is what it is. When a person is determined to destroy themselves, there's not really much you can do until they choose to do otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter the amount of help, financial support, or resources you pour into them. If they want to mess their life up, ain't nothing you can do about it.
Do you see modern women as being self-destructive, and if so, how?
Sorry, can you say that again, please?
Do you see modern women as being self-destructive?
Very much so.
And if so,
they enjoy. Yeah, they enjoy the chaos, but also in the same breath, there's a certain amount of liberty that's given to them, because if they can't get it from you, they can get it from government daddy.
Mm-hmm.
It's out of all the, I'll say the same thing I said to my partner earlier. Out of all the homeless women shelters in America, I forgot the exact number, but there's only one for men. We don't have the same backup.
Right.
A woman can go and get all kinds of resources from the government tomorrow if she needs it. Those resources don't exist for you as a man. So you have to be very, very strategic in your planning and your operation and how you do things. But ultimately, it just kind of is what it is. As much as we may not like it, if they're destructive, they're destructive. Just accept it and move on, but do the best you can to build you without letting them tear you down in the process.
Right, right. I agree with that. I agree. I totally agree with that. It's unfortunate, but it's the world that we live in now, sadly, man. It's unfortunate, but it's the world that we live in now. So, but thank you for tuning in, man. I appreciate it, man. Brother T-Pain, how would you like to add to the conversation, sir? Unmute yourself.
Hey, how you doing, TKC?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Yeah, first and foremost, RIP to Jason.
It's a lot of static in the background. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you sound like you damn cutting a hog in the background or something, man. You sound like you're in a horror movie called Saw. Go ahead, man. You there, T-Pain?
Yeah, can you hear me, brother?
Yes, sir, I can. Go ahead, man.
All right. So, first and foremost, RIP to Jason David Frank. You know, I grew up watching, the Power Rangers and everything like that. You know, recited the whole song. You know, even showed my kids, the old, original episodes and everything. So, it's a very terrible thing hearing this. I've actually known a couple of dudes in a different type of situation that have been, deleted from being involved as well, being involved with a woman, and then as well as a man deleting himself over, as well. And it's a tough thing. It's tough hearing it. It's a real thing that's really going on out here. For me, I've experienced, a situation where, I had to break up recently, and, the individual, like how this gentleman said, once they ready to go, they ready to go. And it's not too much you can do. Also, what he said initially, they are the ones that will, give you the sad story. They'll tell you, it was a guy that, used to, abuse them, cheat on them, do all types of things, and this is the person that they dealt with for years. And see, what happens is they go through that trauma, and then they will bring it right to you. They will bring every last bit of it to you. And the problem is, which a lot of guys got to start doing, it's not so much of a vetting process, because it's not that guys is not vetting. I'm going to give you an example. What happens is people will ignore the signs because they think, okay, as time goes on, this person is going to change. And they don't. They don't change over time. You think, oh, hold up, I stick with them a little bit longer, I can love them through this. I stick them through it a little bit longer, I can love them through this. But then what happens is you teach people how to treat you, and then actually that person is going to start to actually dislike you, whether they know it or not, from you keep letting them treat you like that. And then also you're going to start getting upset at why you even taking these type of things. Mm-hmm. Because the respect level for men is gone down. It is gone. A man is no longer loved. And, it's old. It's not an old saying, but the only thing that is not loved unconditionally is the man, and let alone a black man. You feel what I'm saying? Everything else gets unconditional love. A daggone dog get unconditional love before a black man does. It'll get forgiveness. Right. People will, the first thing, and then now you will become that individual that they were just leaving before they met you, the bad guy. You're now the bad guy, even though you didn't do the things that they did. That individual, if they call you, you will answer the phone. That individual, if they needed you and you was able to be there, you would be there. If some part of their family, children, anything, you needed to be there, you could pray with them, you can love them, you can motivate them, you can do anything, uplift them, encourage them, all types of things. And it's still not enough. It won't be enough unless they can actually dictate to you what you're going to do in that relationship. If they can dictate that and you don't say anything, you're going to be a miserable man, but you might be still in that relationship.
Right. How did you lose yourself or your dignity in the relationship, and what are you doing to recover it now?
Well, like I said before, it came from me constantly allowing her to disrespect me. And see, it happened once in the beginning. And this was the time that I was supposed to get out of it. And it's my fault. I can't really get mad at her. I'm upset and hurt, but I can't get mad at her because I should have got out of it then. I actually had cut it off for a whole day, but then, of course, something told me to, turn. Basically, I had blocked her. Then something told me unblock her. I don't know why I did that, and that's what continued on the situation. Right now, I believe in my Father God through Jesus Christ. He's the one that's getting me through it. That's why I encourage. I know a lot of people, in this world do not have, faith in, God and certain type of things. They have faith in other things.
Right.
But try to find something that you believe in. Also, I have 2 children that's dependent on me.
Right.
So,
those are. Well, let me share something with. Go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead.
No, I said those are my motivating factors right there. God and my 2 children.
Well, but listen, I talked about never fall in love. What are you getting from this conversation about falling? Because many men fall in love. You say you're a man of faith, where the gospel say love a woman in accord to knowledge. She's the weaker vessel. If she's not disciplined through faith, if she's not disciplined through fasting and praying, if she has not been conditioned to respect and honor you, she's not going to do it, because women can be slaves to their emotions. It's like men can be slaves to their loins. But let me share something with you, young man. Start traveling, get your passport. Understand women and see things for what it is, and you won't see women the same again. There's a woman out there that will love and respect and honor you with the understanding that she's still a woman, she's still human, she's still flawed, and she's still subject to her emotions. Tim Howard said that a man who used to work where I work shot himself after arguing with his wife a couple of days ago. And that's what happened when men fall in love. I'm going to challenge you, T-Pain, to never fall in love. Whoever you decide to deal with in the future, never fall in love. And I get it. You're going through a period of hurt, but it gets better with time and reason to some degree. Because, see, when you fall in love and you love that woman more than you love God and your purpose, then perhaps you're committing idolatry and you didn't even know.
Correct.
Do you see my point?
Yeah, and that will never happen. A lot of times, the one thing the enemy will try to do is bring you down. You know what I'm saying? The enemy will use people that aren't of the faith to come and infiltrate you for what you're doing. Before I even mess with this individual, I haven't messed with another woman or touched another woman in 3 years. I was chilling. Right. I'm being honest with you. I was chilling. But once you are on the right path, the devil is always going to send one. And the thing is, what we have to do is be more vigilant. I have to be more vigilant, not to all of a sudden, feel sorry for people. They caring no matter how sweet they sound, no matter how they saying all the right things and everything like that, until that person proves it and I mean really prove it, because I can keep my word. And see, the individual I was dealing with, she knows I keep my word. She knows I have never lied to her, not once. Not once. And still to this day, after we had broken up, where you would think they would call, check up. No, that individual actually is currently probably dealing with somebody else, not thinking about me. And yeah, that's just how they roll, man. They are that vicious. Once they out, you've been seeing it all over all Tia Murray. It's a real spirit going around that's breaking people up. And you can try to do the right thing. You can ask the person, hey, look, check this out. Like, why we got to be arguing? And they will actually have things going on that ain't got nothing to do with you, but they will take it out on you. And when you ask them to not do that, they will get upset at you for asking not to do that. And then when you get upset, they look at you. Why are you getting upset? Why are you talking to me like that? Why are you responding? And then they also do other things of not listening, being disrespectful, being nonchalant, treat you any type of way. I used, we compared to Doug's. So I'm going to use another analogy compared to Doug's. If anybody got a Doug, you can beat the crap out of him. You can beat the living hell out of him. Put him in a corner. And when you say, come here, he going to take his ass, hold his head down, and start wagging his tail right on over to you. That's how women treat men to this day.
Well, I understand your frustration, man. If you want to have a more in-depth conversation, man, let's do a non-diagnostic consultation. Because I can tell, I can hear the stir in your pain. So when you get ready to do one, let's do it. And we will have an in-depth conversation about your struggles. What you're going to do is normal. The only difference with you, T-Pain, is this. You live to have another day or to tell your story. Many men don't live to tell their story. And that's why I said, man, you got to love yourself more than you love any woman. And it doesn't mean you don't love the woman, whoever you decide to be with in the future. But once you get a passport and travel, man, and start dealing with women from foreign countries, hold tight, let me finish. Whoever you were in love with, man, you'll look past it, you'll smile, and you won't even think nothing else of it, man. But I don't want you to have a scarcity mindset. I know it hurts when you're going through it, but it gets better with time. You just got to know you got to undo what you've unlearn what you've learned, and move forward, man. I get it, it hurts, but at the end of the day, you're going to sabotage yourself and your future. Because sometimes we all reap what we sow. So I would encourage you to focus on yourself, start loving yourself. Remember the things you did wrong in the last relationship or relationships, and start establishing the things that you value, number one, and then set boundaries around those values, and everything else will take care of itself.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Like I said, main important thing is God. That's who I'm focused on. Like, again, I understand, about the people, what they're going through and certain things that they have experienced, even down to self-deletion. But I thank God that, I do love him enough, and I haven't fallen into idolatry to the point where I want to take my life for her. I haven't gotten there, for praise God. I give all that grace to God, and of course my children. And I got a little bit more dignity. I know I'm worth more than that.
Respect. I respect that. Brother Allen, when you were dealing with some of the men that you dealt with, what are some of the things you told those young men to stay the course and not become a saboteur of their own egos? What have you told those young men, Brother Allen?
Honestly, again, right back to it is what it is. Most men don't want to accept female nature for what it is.
Right. I totally agree. Right.
We don't think along those same lines.
Right.
So it's extremely hard for most men to even fathom that this woman can be here today, gone tomorrow. It doesn't matter if you got a ring or mansion, a yacht, or Ferrari. That none of that matters.
Right.
So ultimately, my approach is very old school. It is what it is. And then I just try my best to explain it to them, but I tailor it for their situation. The gentleman I was speaking to earlier, it's not his ex-wife because they've been with him married, but his child's mother is walking around telling his daughter that if she decided to become a member of the alphabet community, that's fine. She's actually pushing her in that direction.
Right.
Subtly. He was very upset. He was feeling some type of way about that there. So our whole conversation was, okay, well, it is what it is, and female nature can be very destructive. So now you have to insert yourself and start building. As she tears down, you build. But it's difficult. It's very difficult.
Yeah, it is difficult, man. And you'll go and see, like I said, some men don't have, listen, that's trauma for a man when he's in love and a woman hurts him. It's trauma. And some men are just resilient. They learn how to deal with it. Some go through an existentialist crisis. Some get red pill rage. Some recover, some never recover, some become purple pill. But the point is, I think we always understood women at a surface level, but now you just understand it better. It don't mean you hate them. I don't hate women. I just see women for what they are and just keep it moving, man. And I can hear the pain in his heart, but like I said, man, you'll recover from it. I think you went through a situation with divorce, right, Alan?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And how did you recover? What were some of the things you did to recover? What were some practical steps?
The gym is important. Working out is important. Learning how to channel that energy into something different is extremely important. You can't replace that woman that you lost with another woman immediately. You have to work with yourself. Reason being, you're not ready. One of the most valuable lessons I got was from a older gentleman that went through something similar, but much longer ago. He told me, okay, for the next 3 years, don't date. And I didn't date. I knew, I had relations or whatever, but it wasn't, I didn't handle women seriously because I needed that time to recover. Because for me personally, I went from being married for 15 years and having a family to just being by myself with a dog.
Right.
The house was eerily quiet. The only really saving financially, I was good because the question of paternity came up and that never got answered. So she couldn't screw me over with child support. But it's a hell of a transition. And it takes time. You have to, even though men are built to withstand the environment, as a man, you still have to heal emotionally, mentally, spiritually. It takes time. So I would give anyone the advice that your best bet is to take a break and stay on a break. Now, of course, we all have urges, so scratch that itch and after that move on, but don't deal with them seriously. Because you may find yourself getting sucked into a whole nother situation that you really weren't prepared for. When men fall in love, we fall in love.
We fall,
yeah,
right. We fall hard.
I met a lot of women in my life from my travels abroad and nationally, but I've only met a rare few that's willing to jump in front of a bullet for their man, when the average man is willing to jump in front of a bullet for the average woman.
Right. And I think what men fail at is that they expect women to think like they're men, and they don't. Listen, the only thing women respect is power and strength and the dignity as a man to walk away. She'll respect you more than that. Like, so I think I was talking to Upsid, and he was right. He was saying, but do they respect more than power and strength? Well, that might be at the bottom, but in the forefront, she respects power and strength. And power and strength means you can just walk away. But men get caught up in this blind concept called love, a feel-good hormone. And I would never put another woman before me when it come down to that anymore. I can love a woman, but she ain't gonna come before me. She gonna earn that love. I treat her right. I take care of her. I love her and all that. But you think I'm gonna damn fall head over heels and goo goo gaga? Nah, that'll never happen again, man.
You see, that's the thing, sir. That they want you to be in that position because they know once you're in that position, you're vulnerable.
Yes,
they know this.
Facts.
They know this. They purposely set you up to be in that position where you're vulnerable to them in their attacks and their wiles and whims.
Right.
But the moment you get in that position, they're going to hate you because you're weak enough to fall into that position. It's a weird dichotomy. They want you there, but if you go there, you're a problem now. So you have to be very careful in how you handle them. And once you get a firm understanding of female nature, up is down, left is right, and water ain't wet. Right. That's how you have to deal with them. Everything that makes logical sense to you as a man does not apply in their world.
It doesn't apply in the world, right? I agree. And I think once you can understand that everything else take care of itself. Would you agree?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right. Did you ever have the thought of suicide, brother?
No, but I will say this. All right. So let's say, for instance, when everything went down for me in my situation, let's say it was a Friday night. I woke up that Saturday morning, and the silence was deafening.
Talk about it.
It really messed me up for where I was staying at the time. That was in the DMV. It wasn't the best neighborhood, but it wasn't the worst. And she already had a plan preset. She called 911 and claimed I assaulted her. From where I come from.
Right.
The moment you say DV, you get locked up.
Right.
Well, I didn't, because they saw the officers that responded saw through it. After all the games and all the back and forth, she already had her spot reserved at her battered woman and kids shelter. It was a whole setup. Like, literally, this chick assaulted me and then was escorted away by the police. I'm sitting there lumped up, looking like, what the hell's happening? It's Friday. In fact, she wasn't even supposed to be at the house because she left. She came back, did what she did, calling people, and then things went down the way they went down. Come Saturday morning, I'm waking up. My normal routine is to fix breakfast for the kids, get everything ready, that way we can start getting stuff ready for Sunday, because I was going to take, our routine was for us to go to church, and none of that happened. So the silence was deafening. The normal noises that you're used to hearing when you have a family were gone. That right there in itself was a struggle mentally to even comprehend that, to know that for some undetermined amount of time that this is what life looks like now. So I understand why the Green Ranger did what he did. Myself personally, I was at a very low. I can't do it. I can't do that.
Right.
What I learned to do. My apologies, my dog was barking.
You okay, brother? Go ahead.
What I did learn to do was learn how to cope. The best advice I can give any man that has children that's going through a separation or whatever, invest into yourself. Invest into yourself. Invest into yourself, your business, your finances, all of the above, because ultimately that's going to be what saves you.
No, I agree. You know, I wish this brother could have had someone, Mr. Allen, to talk with him. Had some men that he could have spoken with. I think he would have been around today. But sadly, so many men, when they suffer in silence, they become isolated. They become even more wounded. Like I said, man, we've all been in that dark place. I've been there, and man, the shit hurts worse than death, man. It hurts. Oh my God, it hurts. It hurts extremely bad. But now, it don't faze me. If a woman want to move forward, lead, or cheat, whatever, I'll let her ass go. I won't think nothing of it, because my life and my purpose means more to me than any woman. It's nothing special, sadly, about the typical modern woman. It's nothing special about them. They're human. You ain't getting nothing wholesome like many of them. So, why are you tripping over a woman for? When you can focus on yourself. Go ahead.
We're not taught that in our community. That's one of the biggest things. If you go to the Latin community, they praise their boys, they praise their sons, they praise their fathers, their uncles, their grandfathers.
Yes, sir.
They praise the patriarchs in the family and let them know just how important they are. In our community, you're taught to be a sacrificial lamb. So we get back in the day, your dad got the big piece of chicken.
Right.
Today, she gonna feed them kids before she feeds you.
Right.
It's totally topsy-turvy. Like, our practices are not conducive to a community. Everything is centered around them. So what I'm telling you, brothers, is you need to invest into yourself if no one else is doing it. If you don't do it for you, you have to do it for you. You have intrinsic value that they recognize, but they don't want you to recognize it. They want to leech your skills, your ability, your resources up off you and treat you like nothing when they done with you. Right.
It's power, man. Like I said, Frederick Douglass said the power never conceded to anything without a struggle. It's powerful, a lot of them. They some are conscious of it. Some are doing it intentionally. Some are not even aware that they're doing it. But it is about power. And that's why men got to be the power brokers in their lives, man. You notice guys that are bad boys or whatever, they don't give a damn about a woman. They are here that she don't comply. They just get rid of it and ignore. Women want to chase your validation, but if you're constantly chasing her, it makes women lose respect for you, because women by nature want to look up to you, not you chasing her like a fool because you call up in this drug hormone called love. Go ahead, T-Pain, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just going to, I'm agreeing with you on as far as that's one thing that I learned, because this wasn't the first situation. I actually been, married before. And one thing that I did start to learn, like especially after this one, that they don't. I heard somebody else say this the same. Women do not love how men love, and then I heard you say it the same. Said it as well. So then I was like, okay, and I kind of was already thinking about that years ago. Like, they don't love the way we love, and then that, our word says once three witnesses are come and make it true. You feel what I'm saying? So I heard it from you. I heard it from someone else, and I already was contemplating on this.
Right.
But something that I had, I had to learn and everything like that. Like I said, I'm sorry to hear about this, because, like you said, it's hurtful. It's a pain. I haven't gotten to the point where I wanted to get rid of myself and everything like that. I just pray to God that I never get like that. I never will say I will never be like that. But praise God that I have not gotten there. And I still find value and worth of me actually being here. I have people that actually love me. My children doing great in school. They're a blessing. And it's not like I don't have. It wasn't never like I couldn't get no other woman. It was just I chose to love that woman.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? And that's why I be trying to tell people love is not really emotion. It's a choice and everything. So when you choose to, it causes emotions. But when you choose to love someone, and if you're a man of integrity and you give somebody your word and everything like that, it caused you to move differently. But from hearing you say what you said about the love factor and how we love differently and everything like that, that's definitely that was clarity for me. So.
Oh yeah, man, yeah. And you live and you learn, and you use that knowledge to teach other men. You know, it is what it is. I mean, like I said, man, when we go do what we go do, when I was going to do what I was going to do, I didn't have nobody to talk to, man. It was, I was, oh my goodness, brother. I was very depressed. But now I don't give a shit, man. You want to be with somebody else, go ahead. I don't give a shit. I keep it moving. Because I know my worth, man. I'm 6'5", I'm highly educated. I'm not worried about no damn woman. There's too many women out here for me to talk about killing myself over a woman. That's why I say I'm gonna always keep my guard up. I'm gonna always be on my six. And once you, and then I'm gonna tell you something else too, T-Pain. Another thing you gotta be cognizant of is this: always get with a woman that care about you a little bit more than you really like her. You can like her, but don't you ain't really tripping over her, because she's gonna always be chasing your validation. If you care about a woman more than she care about you, she's in the power seat. It's called behavior modification. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, no doubt. It wasn't never that. What happens is this: a lot of times they will play on your conscience of your heart. It wasn't the factor of me loving her more than I love myself. I ain't never get like that. That is when you start to participate in idolatry. Right. What happens is they will perpetuate a situation that, hey, if this didn't happen, then this wouldn't be that way, or that you did something wrong. And if they know you're a certain type of person that has, integrity and everything like that, and you actually have an earnesty of wanting to do what is right, they can constantly use that to get back in your life.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? It's been so many times I was supposed to get up out of it, and I didn't, because of that placation on, like, hey, you know what? He'll take me back because he's this type of man. You feel what I'm saying? And, he's not, he actually cared about me and all this type of stuff. But like I said, I'm going to make sure next time that this situation ain't going to happen. You believe that, brother?
Well, like I said, man, if you want something in-depth, just set up a consultation, man. I don't mind doing these shows, but I'm going to get more rigid with my time and more rigid with scheduling next year as I seek to expand my practice. I left a lot of money on the table last year, brother.
Yeah. I just wanted to tap into this show because this was something serious. It's very prevalent. It's going around. And we still got a lot of guys out here still, simping and pandering to these daggone women out here that's really tearing men up, tearing families up, destroying life. Mm-hmm. You feel what I'm saying? Right. We still got that going around. So, I mean, it's a war, like you said. And I'm glad, I'm doing what I can, and I'm glad that it's people like you and people like Mr. Allen, and as well as the other gentlemen, they're doing what they have to do. I'm not going to allow this situation to make me jaded or anything like that. I would never take my, frustrations out on another person. They ain't deserve that. So that ain't got nothing to do with that. But I am going to take some time off like how I did last time. Mm-hmm. And I'm not worried about no other woman right now. So
Right. Focus on yourself, man. I promise you, man. Once you travel abroad, brother, I don't know how you sound like you're about 38, but once you travel abroad, man, you get your passport. If you don't, maybe you got one, but when you start traveling abroad, man, seeing women that are feminine, they were raised traditional, you look at what you had and just shake your head and say, "Damn, I was a fool." You got to expand your globe, man. You got to expand your options, man. And that's why I said there's 7 steps that a man must go through to be optimized, and world travel is one of them. Once you begin to travel abroad with the understanding that women are not perfect, if you're a simp in America, you're going to be a simp in another country. But once you stand in power, once you have your own values and set boundaries around those values, and once you deal with them women from abroad, man, you'll be like, oh my goodness, I didn't realize the potential that I had. And sometimes when you travel abroad, you can get superior to what you had. You gotta understand, women in other countries are conditioned to honor and respect you as a man. Women here to see you as something to throw in the trash can. They'll date you for a minute, and they'll throw you in the damn trash can. Don't think nothing of it. And so you sit up crying and sad, playing that damn song by the stylistic "Bet You by Golly Wild" and I will always love you and all that goofy ish. Depressed. It ain't worth it, man. You get up off yourself, start going to the gym. Shake the dust off your feet, get your swag game up, get your smell good on, and travel abroad. And once you get with a woman abroad, you set parameters around that damn relationship. Anytime you see red flags, you cut her ass loose, or you tell her what you expect. She don't do it, you kick her to the curb. She was made for you. You weren't made for her. So if you sit around crying, oh, I can't believe my wife, man, damn that, man. Get rid of it, man, and keep it moving, man. Because it gets better. I promise you, brother, it gets better, man. It gets better. But you gotta unlearn what you've learned, and you gotta understand that they don't think like you, and that's okay. You don't hate women, but just see women for what they are, and then everything else will take care of itself, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's no doubt.
And I want you to get your passport if you don't have it, and I want you to travel abroad, man. Start traveling, man.
Yeah, I'm working on things. Actually,
Get your passport, start traveling, man.
It's funny how things work out once that person do actually leave. Sometimes, God won't allow you to advance in life if you got something that ain't supposed to be there, that you ain't supposed to be traveling with. Things is moving. Right. Things is moving, and she don't even know it. So it's all good.
Well, anyway, man, no doubt. I totally agree. Go ahead, Al. This time you want to say something.
Thank you, guys.
Ultimately, men have to really realize how women view them. They have as much consideration for you as you do for toilet paper or Q-tips. Right. Just straight up, like they view you just like you view a box of Q-tips. They can pick one, use it, and toss it away, and then go reach back for another one until they hit the wall.
Right.
So once you realize that that's their view on you, you are a utility to them, nothing more. It changes, and you accept it. Like what would man say, Country Wayne? Let that sizzle in your spirit, in your soul. When you get it, now you know how to handle them, because you're not going to handle them in love and in care. You're going to handle them in a similar fashion. So unless that woman proves to you that she's actually worth your time and worth your energy, worth your resources and effort, you're not going to invest too deep into her.
Right. You don't invest too deep into it, man. You just, like I said, the scripture said, deal with them in accord to knowledge. And it's true. And so you love her, but I'm not going to lose my self of dignity as a man. And because let me tell you something, T-Pain, and also to the men that are listening. Once you begin to love yourself, man, eventually women come to their senses after they go through, after some of them get back out here and they got better, then they get ran through and used up. Then they want to come back to you and talk about, I still love my ass. Love should have brought you home last night. And you just keep it moving, man. You laugh at them, you don't hate them, you just keep it moving. Don't hate the person, because you become you're letting them rent space in your head for free. And I know it's easier said than done. But you just move on, man, keep it moving, man. And everything else will take care of itself. And I bet you, Alan, the woman that you dealt with, I bet you she tried to get you back. Did she not?
She did.
Tell me why did she try to get you back? Tell me why you think she tried to get you back.
I told her before she jumped out there in them streets that kind of like all dogs go to heaven. Once you leave, you can never come back. Like I think she wanted to be a wife, a mother, the girlfriend of a dope boy, and a stripper all at the same damn time. And it's like, nah. So she wasn't dealing in reality, like a real reality. You can't be all these things to all these people and not be here for your husband at the same time. But when she finally got used up, she tried to come back.
Oh yeah. They're gonna always try to come back.
It was funny. She had her locks all twisted up, so tight. Her little eyes were all chinky. And I'm like, yeah, nah. It's some money for the kids. I'll let you. But you don't want to talk? I don't want to talk. I don't even want to be around you. So they always try to come back.
And it's a good feeling, man.
Yeah, it is.
Well, you can move the hell on, and you be singing that song by James Ingram. I gave my best, but I guess my best wasn't good enough. And then they come back, after they get used up by Shermite, Raekwon, and Man. And then they say, I miss you. But no, boo. Like I said, love should have brought you home last night. I wish you well. You and your baggage and your drama, because I believe men and women both shouldn't get into relationships if they're broken, man. I think men and women both should recover and heal. And because, like I said, you're right, we don't live in societies where we teach women to love and honor and respect our men. A lot of it is socialization, and some of it is intrinsic, and some it's also based on some women's temperament. But by and large, we don't respect men like the way they deserve to be respected, man. You know, you got to damn jump through hoops for mediocrity, man. You know, I mean, I can see you getting something special, but half the time you're not even getting damn nothing special, man. And you know, they'll make you think they did you a favor, man.
Well, that's part of the game they play. They blow themselves up to be much bigger than they really are. But after you get to a certain age, you just see what it is, and you can call that BS. Like, nah, foul on the play.
Yeah. I've seen a lot, man. I went to high school with, you know, they show you no love, but they act funny. And what I noticed with some of our women, when they know what your worth is and your potential, they become intimidated, man. They don't want you to know what your greatness is, man, because they feel like they're losing control. Some of them. I've seen chicks or some folks, you know, when I went to graduate school, graduate with honors, in undergrad, they don't say congratulations, you know, proud of you, because they like it when you're beneath them. It makes them feel more powerful.
Yes, sir.
And I just laugh at them. You know, you can be having conversations. They don't say nothing. They don't respond. I know my swag game is on point, but their silence lets me know that I'm winning. You know, that lets me know that I'm winning, brother Al.
I'm from the DMV, and one of the best tricks I ever learned was when I would meet different women, I never told them what I did as a career. If they asked me, I just told them I'm a consultant, because that can be anywhere from $2 to $300,000. So they could never gauge it. When men meet these women, they don't need to know that much about you. Don't let them interview you. You need to interview her. It's not about what you bring to the table. It's about what her value is, because as you grow older, your value increases, hers diminishes and decreases.
Right, because it's beauty, right. You know, right. It diminishes, right. And they don't see it that way, but we see it that way. Because if I was a single man in the game again, I don't want no damn woman my age. I want something younger. I don't want nothing my age, man. I want something younger, tight body, ain't been ran through, and don't have a bunch of kids by other men or no kids at all. I mean, that's just me, you know. But you know, I want something that I can mold into my image. And that's what many don't understand. That's why I tell these young men, you gotta love her within reason. I'm not telling men not to love women. You should love them, but don't no damn woman coming for me. I treat her good. I give her the world. I make sure she's well taken care of. But she gonna follow my leadership. If she can't, I say, well, you can just take your ass on. You know, I don't care. Take your ass on. Nothing special. You know, life will go on. And if she get with another man, let her get with him. I don't give a shit. He can be with her. I don't care. Once you can get like that, Al and the T-Pain, man, that's when you're winning, when you become indifferent. The opposite of love is indifference, man. And once you can become indifferent, it don't even phase you no more. You say, okay, whatever.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
When did you become indifferent, brother?
About 40 now, so maybe about 30, 37. About 37. After all the court cases and the money was spent and the property was separated, I learned that was my aha moment. I learned to I don't really care that much no more, because ultimately, all my ex wanted, old girl, she just wanted a safety net. It was never about the kids. It was never about the marriage. It was never about anything outside of her building her a safety net for later on. But the amount that she got it's not the amount that she really wanted. So what she got ain't close to what I get now. If I can put it like that. So yeah, that was my jump off point to just being indifferent. If she's with somebody, cool. If she's not, cool. If she calls me, cool. If she don't, I don't care no more.
You know, one of the things that men struggle with, man, they had been intimate with a woman. They don't want to have the thoughts of another man digging in them guts. And I get it. I get it. But,
You got to grow up.
Yeah, where I look at it, man, if she ain't a virgin, then why do you care? She ain't a virgin, so why are you worried about what she do? Let her go and have fun. You didn't get nothing fresh and new anyway. Just focus on yourself, man, and move on, man.
Ultimately,
go ahead.
Ultimately, a lot of men struggle with that, but that's not your business no more. If it ain't none of your business no more, because she ain't none of your business no more, then why should you care?
Right. And I understand, man, when you're in love, it's only natural because men are territorial. I get it. I do understand it, but
you can't be territorial over public property. You can't.
That's a good point.
You can't be territorial over the sidewalk. It's everybody's sidewalk.
She belongs to the streets, right?
Yes, sir.
She belongs to the streets.
Yeah. Once you leave here and from under my protection and covering, the streets gonna do with you what they gonna do with you. It's the same everywhere else in the world. They gonna do what they gonna do with you. Whatever you allow, the street is gonna have its way with you in that fashion. So you can't be territorial over public property. Men have to get over that. Like, that's not your girl. It wasn't your girl before. It's not your girl now.
Right.
She was just there for a short time, not a long time.
Right. And that's almost like, the gospel said if they were really with you, they would have never walked away. And so,
yes, sir.
If somebody's really with you, they ain't gonna walk away, man. They're gonna ride or die to the end, man. So yeah, you don't take it personal, man. You just keep it moving and move on, man. Because tomorrow ain't promises no man. And like I said, man, it's sad that this brother lost his life, man. It's very sad. My heart goes out to him, man. My heart goes out to any man that's struggling with depression or struggling with anxiety because they lost the love of their life. My heart goes out to him. Go ahead, Brother Alan.
I was on a broadcast with Mr. Palmer, and there was a speaker that was on. He said something that was very impactful to me personally. He literally said, act like a man, but at times think like a pimp. You can't allow yourself to become too emotionally attached to a creature that's as fickle as a woman. Today she love you, tomorrow she hates you.
Right.
Day after she love you again. They don't, like you said, sir, they don't love the way we love. When men love, we're willing to fight and die for what we love and protect it.
Right.
I've yet to see a woman run into a burning house to save her own damn baby versus you. But that firefighter who don't know nothing about you is coming in there to come get you to the best of their ability, putting life and limb on the line. You can't hold women to the same standard that you have as a man, because it doesn't exist. It's not real. It's just not real. At least
it's not real. Love is an illusion, man. It comes and goes, man. It's just an illusion.
Yeah, there may be a few notable examples out there, but the vast majority, no.
Right.
Nah.
Right. Yeah. The average wins, man. And like I said, I love women, but I just don't take them serious. And you're right. You got to be 2 and 3 steps ahead of the game, man. You treat them right, take care of them, but I don't put them there because you're right. They so damn fickle, man. You got to keep sometimes telling them the same thing. And what I've learned, man, for some women, man, sometimes you just got to leave them. You just got to leave them where they're at and let them learn through hardship, man. And some will learn, and some won't learn. And at that point, it's no longer your problem because this brother didn't value himself or his life. And now he's waiting at the judgment, man. He's waiting to see the Creator at some point. And it's sad, man. I didn't realize what so many men was into this Power Ranger dude, man. What's his name? Jason David Frank, right?
Yes, sir.
Right.
It's terrible because this guy's obviously he's of European descent. If he's going through it, that should be a good indicator as to what we're dealing with in our community.
Right.
Like, he was a B grade celebrity, maybe easily recognized by people. He came up in my generation where we could all say, I was a Green Ranger. Oh yeah, that was you. Now he's gone all over a woman because he didn't place his value higher than her.
Right.
Because your show was a very what's the word for it? because there's a certain amount of decor that comes with being on your show. I'm not going to. I can't say what I really want, but
right.
that gentleman should have never placed her value above his own, because the end result is he's in the box now.
He's in the box, and you know what's going to happen by the year or two? Somebody else going to be in her guts.
Yep.
Somebody else going to be in his house, and another man. Let me tell you something, man. I've seen situations, man. After you die, that woman's with another man, and she's already vetting another man. That's why you want a woman that wants you more than you want her. You want a woman that chose you. Because see, a lot of men, Brother Allen, got in relationships where they would never. That wasn't that woman's first pick. She already been imprinted by other men. She'll tolerate you for resources, but she don't really want you. And a lot of women don't want men to know how they really operate and think. You know.
Well, that was my situation right there, where my ex wanted to be a hood chick because she was imprinted by hood dudes, but I'm from the hood, but I wanted something more than just the hood. I wanted, you know, the good old suburban life, making 70, 80,000. I was happy versus hustling from hand to hand every day. So that you're very right. The average woman, no, let me rephrase that. The average man doesn't understand the mentality of the average woman. Like, you can lay down your life for them, but they not going to do that for you. You can destroy yourself. It's going to be somebody else that's having a way with her in due time.
Yeah. You got a few that are true ride or dies. They're rare though. I've known some women that said they would put it all, but that's a woman that, like Shirley Brown said, she loved her man. That's a woman that, one, has a temperament to love her man. That's a woman that's been conditioned based on how she's been raised, and that's a spiritual woman. That's why you want you a woman that's truly in love with God and faith, and she's real. She ain't faking it. And those kind of women, man, I think you have a better chance with that woman being in compliance. But overall, yeah, man, the typical one, man, yeah, they don't give a shit about you. They don't care about you, man. I had a homeboy, man, that was married. He was from up top too, and he went through a similar situation, and you know, she was with somebody else right afterwards, man. You know, and he was devastated. But I said, you got to stop thinking like women. Once you understand them, you ain't mad at them. You just see them for what it is, man. You keep it moving, man.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
I wish folks would have given me this game at a younger age. That's why men come to these spaces based on an existentialist crisis. But, you know, this brother, Jason David Frank, could have been saved if someone had told him about these spaces where men come together and share their story. In the clinical world, we call it a group catharsis. Basically means men come together and they emote their pain. We call it the universality of brotherhood, where men share a common struggle. We also call it sharing the evidence. Those are some of the contemporary components of group therapy. Another one is called corrective recapitulation, meaning you go back and correct what you thought was right, and you don't surrender to that vice again, and you keep moving forward. But so many men have surrendered to their emotions, man, and I said I had to do this show, man. But share the stream, man. Do me a favor, Brother Allen, Truth and Purpose. Share the stream. Will you share the stream for me? And don't just say, yeah, I'll do it. Don't do it once we get off the line. Share this stream, because your story and Alan's story might can help somebody. So will you guys both share it? Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Done.
Okay. All right. You got me, Truth? Truth, you hear me?
I don't see him on the line.
Yeah, he's up here, but he ain't talking. But anyway, man, look, Brother Alan, have a good Thanksgiving, man. I'm going to get ready for tomorrow, man. I got another cooking for y'all coming up, man. And guys, thank you for tuning in, all right? I'm going to drop y'all down, all right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let me drop y'all down. I don't know what's going on. All right, I don't know what's going on. I can't drop you brothers down. This thing is freezing. Y'all drop yourself down for a minute, please. Did you hear me? All right, guys, we're going to end it in a minute. Jay Shaw said, unless a woman is virtuous and dutiful, she has absolutely nothing to bring. Right, I totally agree. Shout out to my man, American Brazilian brother. Thank you, brother, for tuning in. I'm glad you enjoyed the show, guys. I got to get this thing right. But anyway, guys, I'm about to sign off, guys. Love you, brothers. Hope you guys are doing well. And, guys, I need you to remember this. If it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, it ain't right. Love yourself, man. Do not be a victim like Jason David Frank. Remember, you can love your woman, but you love her within reason. Be well.
Pain. I've been there, locked up inside my head, broken from fear, illusions, disappointment, and hopelessness. Who heard me in my silence, where being a man means nothing? Despair. I've been there too, desperately seeking answers for the questions associated with manhood, hills and valleys, too bleak to compare. Stress, suffering in a utility silo, no comfort, no security, no freedom, no justice, just do it for others. Challenges, who will help me break the challenges? Lost in the vortex of darkness, hopelessness, fear, and abandonment. I've been there too. I've been there too. Take the next step to your destiny. Join me in this fight. Walk forward. Deep breaths. Head held high, men. Come join me, men, in the winds of time. Stories, hopes, visions, purified in the fire. I'm not a superhero, and I'm not the Reverend Knight. I'm here to help you. Join me, men, in this fight. Break the chains of your mind. Let's do it now. For now is all we have. Fire for your mind. The Kosher Clinician.